Good morning, folks. Welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers, and we're here today, or this morning, bright and early, to cover the Australian Endurance Championship Bathurst 12 hour. We've got a few technical difficulties by the looks of it at the moment, and I'm going to have a look at those very shortly. But before we do, I'd like to introduce you to our commentary team today. So it's myself and Adrian Jarvis, and we also have Trent Thomas here. Welcome, guys, and good morning.
Morning. Sorry, Adrian. Morning, Bernie. Morning, viewers.
Yeah, morning, Bernie. Morning, Trent. Morning, viewers. Yeah, bright and early for us this morning, Bernie. Watching these multi-class racing should be a cracker, and we've got an extra person here today with Trent, so it's going to be quite exciting in the booth and on track today.
It certainly will be, and wrong button. Starting off really well. So for the viewers on iRacing Live here today, we're only on iRacing Live for the first part this morning. That is from 8:30 to 12 o'clock. So if you want to keep up with our racing, you need to go to youtube.com/RRTV Live for the other two parts. And I'll be repeating that throughout the broadcast here. So for those interested, you can keep up with us there. So we better get this show underway, I guess. Alright, so let's have a look at our track guide at the moment. The total distance is 6.21 kilometres, and they're going to be racing around here for the next 12 hours, so we'll probably expect them to do over 230 laps of this race today, depending on safety cars. Sky is clear, and wind speed's 18 kilometres per hour. A beautiful day here in Bathurst, Australia, with a track temp of 38 degrees Celsius. So I don't know about you guys this morning, but this morning I heard kookaburras out there, so it's looking like the wildlife's out there, Adrian. I just hope there's no kangaroos.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. No kangaroos, luckily for these guys, unlike the 12 hour that we had a couple of weeks ago, early on in the year with the GT3s. So these guys should be okay, but like anything, I think there may be a few interesting developments because the concrete is so close to the track here.
Yeah, there certainly are, and it's going to be interesting. For the folks watching, I'm just updating our graphic settings to try to get rid of that stuttering before we get into this race. So just bear with us for one moment. Okay, we're back to live pictures now, so we'll see how that goes. Doesn't look like it's going to improve, so it looks like this morning started out smoothly, but now we've got technical issues when it's most counted. But let's have a look at our point score at the moment. We'll go through the top 5 in Class A. So at the moment, Team TTL is leading the way on 370 points, followed by Trans-Tasman Racing on 350 points. Carnet TDR 137 is on 330 points. Then fourth is Redback Racing Team, the 118 on 310 points, and then rounding out our top 5 in the HPD class is ABR Simulated 1 on 280 points, and they're equal with Evolution Racing Australia entry 126 on 280 points as well. So that's our Class A wrap up, guys. So looking at our qualifying at the moment, Team TTL is leading the way on 150.310. That's their lap. Redback Racing HPD, the 118 entry, is sitting in second at the moment. Dayco Motorsports is sitting in third, the 100. Then fourth is Nutters Motorsport Green, followed by Evolution Racing Australia in fifth. Class B OSRTP, the 288, is leading that class at the moment for qualifying, followed by JFF Racing, Evolution Racing Australia, Synergy Sim Racing in fourth. And then fifth is Synergy Sim Racing number 3 team. top 5 for qualifying in Class C, ANZ Motorsports, followed by Mad Cow Racing, Frida, Oceanic Sim Racing 3rd, Delta Sim Sport 4th, Selby Racing Team in 5th position.
So a little update, I think, Bernie, quickly for the car 397, they actually have a penalty by the look of it straight up, so I believe they'll probably end up starting from pit lane, unfortunately.
Okay, and our graphical issues are continuing here, guys, so I'm going to attempt to fix it, but it's going to take a little bit of time, so if everyone can bear with me, I'm just going to restart the simulator and see if we can get smoother pictures here for our racing today. One moment.
One point of discussion that's been talked about amongst the drivers is the lack of ability to make passes over the top of the mountain. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out during the race. Pretty much everybody's been in the same point of view. Both GT3, DP, and the HPD drivers are all pretty much of the agreement that no passes should be made over the top of the mountain, which is rare for all classes to agree that when and where passes should be made. So it'll be interesting to see whether that does translate into the race, or whether the heat of the moment and the red mist comes down, and if a driver sees a gap, they're just going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely, and we could see that pressure earlier on, couldn't we, in the way the guys were trying to get those fast laps in. They're getting caught up with the GT3s over the hill, and some of them were trying to really get through there, weren't they?
Yeah, I know the G&T racing car suffered from a bit of that earlier in the session. They're also down a driver. I can give that information at the moment. The driver who was meant to qualify and start hasn't arrived yet, so they're suffering with only one person around at the moment.
Oh, wow. Well, let's hope they get the other drivers there. That's always a bit of a worry, isn't it, when that sort of thing happens?
Yeah, it's being a team event, it's a lot easier to have even just one other person around just to spot, work out your fuel numbers, all that sort of thing. So to be able to having to do that on the fly by yourself, it certainly makes things a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it certainly does. And for those viewers just joining us, we've got a few technical difficulties which I'm working on as we speak. But just while we're waiting for those technical difficulties to be fixed, let's have a look at the... that'd be right. Okay, let's have a look at some of the rules for today. In 9 minutes time we will have race admin go through this, but one thing for the viewers to keep an eye on is the incident cap today, 75 points. Once they go over that incident cap, they will be not disqualified, but they'll start losing points. The big one though, guys, is the fast repairs. They've only got 2 here today for the 12 hour, so I think that's going to play a huge part in the amount of teams that actually get to the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely, Benny. You know, those sort of things play a part in how a team will finish a race. So, and this track is known how close the walls are. So, you know, you keep using those up, and only having 2 over 12 hours is definitely going to see a lot of guys run around there and damage cars, and something that race control will keep an eye on and make sure that they're not too much of a hindrance, because you don't really want damaged cars putting around up the top of the mountain, that's for sure.
Well, that's right, especially with the difference between the GT3s and the HPDs and the Corvettes for that matter. If you've got a damaged car going over the top of the mountain in a GT3, well, good luck with that. You're going to be either going in the marbles a lot, or watching those mirrors, or possibly being collected when the drivers can't see you, because that closing speed's pretty phenomenal, isn't it, Trent?
Yeah, it actually is. Sometimes it does catch you out in HPD. And the other thing to keep in mind is the GT3 cars can pretty much outbrake any other car on this track. The HPDs have to brake a lot earlier, so And that's what I think catches out some of the GT3 drivers, is the fact that they can brake a lot later than the HPDs, but the HPDs are carrying more speed. So sometimes that can catch out those drivers coming into a corner, and they're not thinking the HPD is going to make a move because they can actually outbrake them.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And we saw that last time with the outbraking. There was quite a big difference when the GT3 started to get into those braking areas.
Yeah, the brakes on those GT3 cars is absolutely phenomenal. So it's that's something to keep in mind for all the drivers. But I think the only place it's going to be those issues is pretty much from the cutting down to Forest Elbow. That's every driver, as I mentioned earlier, has mentioned that it is not possible to get by. All the cars are pretty much on the limit of adhesion. If you go the slightest bit offline at pace, then you're pretty much going to end up in a bit of trouble. So hopefully everyone keeps that gentleman's agreement, and we'll see some good clean racing. Bathurst itself has always got a high attrition rate on iRacing. So yeah, those two fast repairs are going to be critical, as in how the teams use those throughout the 12 hours today.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we've got back 2 live pictures now, folks, so thank you for your patience there. It definitely looks like, cross our fingers, we've fixed that graphical issue. So at the moment, Synergy Sim Racing is leading qualifying with 16 minutes to go here, and Nutters Motorsport Orange is second. So it looks like Redback Racing Team, the 118, not sure what's happened to them. They were in the probably top 3 in final practice 1 and 2 today, but they're not to be seen at the moment in the top 10. So looks like their day is starting off not too well, I guess you could say. So they're not even in the scoring at the moment, guys. So be interesting to see if that car actually does take to the grid this morning. So looking at the point score for Class B, top 5 at the moment after 1 round. The first round was Daytona 24 Hours. The number 228, Evolution Racing Australia, is leading that class on 370 points. 266, the Blackadder Motorsport on 350 points. Third in that class is Synergy Sim Racing on 310 points. Fourth, Evolution Racing Australia on 300. And then rounding out the top 5 in Class B is SDC Motorsport on 280 points. Going to be going to live race control in the next 5 minutes, so these guys really only have 5 minutes of qualifying left, so the pressure is definitely on, as we can see them, a couple of GT3s there trying to get position across the top of the mountain. And really this shows, while we're looking at these pictures, folks, just how frustrating it's going to be for those HPDs. We can see that Evolution Racing Australia HPD behind 2 GT3s, and there's just nowhere to pass across the top of that mountain, is there, Adrian?
No, it's such a difficult place to pass. Those HPDs we know have got plenty of downforce, but like Trent was saying, the GT3s have got a lot more braking force in those things. They can brake a lot later, obviously not carrying as much speed, but going to be interesting. There's going to be one driver I know of that's going to be really interesting to watch, and that'd be Shane Gizzy up here. He's in the rough, and we know that he's had plenty of miles around this track in the recent past, and actually live racing, so he's going to be a one to watch, and I'm sure he's going to be exciting around here today. Oh
yeah, he will be, and he actually did the real Bathurst 12 hour in the McLaren, so we see him back in his trusty old rough here. Qualified at the moment 28th position outright in the 397, but this guy definitely knows how to get a car to the end, so it'll be interesting to see where he ends up at the end of the 12 hours here today.
Yeah, and that car's actually got that penalty which I alluded to earlier, so it's going to be interesting how he goes. He's qualifying quite well at the moment, but once again, just getting a few laps in and getting his eye in around the track, even though he should have a fairly good idea, but just more laps again, and it'll be interesting as he carves through the field today.
Yeah, and so as Adrian was alluding to there, folks, the 397 had a pit lane penalty. They entered free practice 1 with the wrong number, so that's a pit lane start. Evolution Racing Australia also has a pit lane penalty, the 126, so that's for car contact with the 100 in qualifying, and a pit lane start for those guys. So there's 2 at the moment starting from the pits. But I think, Trent, starting from the pits at Bathurst may not be a bad thing, considering we've got 45 cars that we're going to see coming screaming up Mountain Straight in the next probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. First lap at Bathurst, especially multi-class racing, is always going to be quite hairy. It's actually something that I know my team itself had discussed as an actual strategy option, depending on qualifying to position whether to start from pit lane or not, just to try and avoid some of that early mess. Our car did get involved in a first lap incident, which wasn't of our making at Daytona, so we were thinking of taking the better part of caution there and just trying to avoid the mess. But again, if you do start from pit lane, it could put you at a chance of going down a lap down fairly early on in the race, which is also something you don't really want to do. So it's got to sort of judge that fine line as risk versus reward, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I think the penalty's going to be felt more for the HPDs than the Class C cars, because the HPDs are going to get held up a lot in the first couple of laps as they try to make their way through the GT3s there.
That's definitely right. I mean, there's 10, 12, 15 seconds difference between the HPDs and the GT3 cars around here, so that's if you're held up for even just 2/3 of that lap, that's 10 seconds of lap you're going to be losing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not as well. I know that the guys who do start from pit lane must wait for race control to give them the go to leave their pit box, so it's not relying just on iRacing doing a countdown and making sure that they can go, because Scott Collins race control, Scott Stevens, sorry, from race control I was having a conversation with him, and he said sometimes it looks like they're going to actually release the cars before the field's actually gone by, so they must wait for race control to give that go ahead before they're allowed to leave their pit stall.
That's going to be interesting, and as we can see now, guys, the cars are coming in. They've got 10 minutes of qualifying left, but at 8:50 precisely, race admin does their driver's briefing, and we will be covering that live here, just so it gives the viewers a bit of an insight over the rules and regs of this series and the driving standards that race control does expect from all their drivers here. We'll just cross over to race admin now, and we'll get that driver's briefing.
Rightio guys, welcome to the selby.com.au Australian Endurance Championship Round 2, Bathurst 12 hour. Just want to go over a few matters for today's race. Hopefully you've read all the pre-race information, and if you can, please pass on the driver's briefing information to fellow drivers that may not be in the server at the moment. Few important reminders. Pretty much I want a lot of the driving and the teams and drivers to take care from the cutting through to Forest Elbow, which is from turn 3 to turn 18. Keep an eye out for yellow flags, any cars limping across and down the mountain after an incident. All teams and drivers are to show patience, especially those teams that are coming across lower class cars in other categories, and think very seriously about overtaking and how you go about overtaking if you decide to overtake. Just a reminder that each driver will be provided 2 warnings for unsafe driving ethics, and after that you'll be given a pit lane drive-through penalty. We have 2 teams which are going to be starting from pit lane today. 2 teams that are starting from pit lane today. The number 397 ANZ Motorsports for entering the official server in a wrong number. And also from qualifying this morning, we have the number 126 Evolution Racing Australia avoidable contact during qualifying as well. So you both have a pit lane start, and you will have to wait until race control gives you authority to leave your pit box. Do not go until race control deem you able to go, please. Just remember that. Rightio, your incident cap is 75, so once again, any 10 incidents over that and you'll start getting points deducted. You only have 2 fast repairs, so make sure that you're using them wisely. Obviously, we've got the direct message service for any protests that you want to send through to the AEC Facebook page. Do it as a private message to them. If you don't have Facebook, you can PM me through the iRacing forums, but I don't think we get it as quickly, so that's the downside for that. Basically, guys, just give everybody a lot of room and a lot of patience throughout the whole race. I don't want the blood that happened last year from race control. So, the pit lane entry, we all know the situation there, so nobody's to pit under a closed pit lane, or you'll get the black flag and hold for 1 lap issued. Is there any questions? Just make sure that you guys have your buttons mapped to transmit to the correct channel. So anybody abusing or not using the voice chat channel correctly, you will be given a black flag. You will have 1 warning, but after that you'll be given a black flag, and if you transmit on it or not, it doesn't matter. So make sure that you have a good button selected, and making sure that you're chatting on the right channel. You can use voice chat to notify race control and other drivers of a spun or crashed car over the top of the mountain or anywhere on the track. It makes it a lot easier for us to find out and whether or not we need to bring out a safety car as well. Question came through from Ian Ford. Yes, it was, mate. Unfortunately, yeah. So incident involving the number 100 car there. Any other questions, guys? So if there's a car that's like spun, if it's a car spun or it's got damage or something like that, I don't mind people saying, hey, look, there's a slow car on track. It certainly helps us, and it will obviously help you guys as well, so that you don't end up like with big pile-ups that happened at, say, like Watkins Glen last year. So even if you're not the driver for that team, you can call that out. I don't have an issue with that, but the general chit chat and other stuff that goes on over voice control is just not needed. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, that kind of thing I don't mind, but I'd just rather keep it to a minimum. I just want it like race control or safety information, really. If you bump somebody, I have no issues with you guys saying or sending them a PM when you finish your stint or something like that. Just send them in the forums or send them a PM on the forum is fine. Brett, thank you. Yeah, so let's just keep it to safety kind of information, letting race control know of any incidents, and also other drivers if there's incidents or a slow car, that type of thing. Right, guys, last bit of info. Just want to make sure that you all give each other room. Like at Daytona, we know that the C7s don't have tyre warmers, so on the start, just be careful there. And on restarts, after the safety car restart, the lead car has to maintain the safety car speed and until the green flag is waved. And then you guys are free to race. Righto guys, good luck to everybody, and hopefully we can have a good clean race, and make sure you try and jump up to the RRTV commentary booth when you're not doing a stint, or if you finish your stint, and have a chat to the guys. It always helps out. And good luck.
So folks, that was race control briefing. One thing the questions were around, which we couldn't hear them being asked, was around communication over the team radios. Race control wants to keep that to a minimum and only to be used for communicating official business, which is probably a good thing in a way, because we know these drivers can be passionate, and sometimes the radio can be used to get into arguments. Isn't that right, guys?
That's right. It did happen a little bit at Daytona, and I think Bathurst last year, it was a real issue, and that was what I think Scott was talking about cracking down on, and didn't want the blow up that we had last year, where he had to really come down hard on the drivers and the teams using the communications channels for other than what they're supposed to be used for.
Yeah, definitely. And what this series is all about, folks, is realism. And in real life, you can't argue with the other drivers over radio, so they don't want to see that here either. The other thing for our new viewers, just watching this new series, there's another couple of interesting points here that they like to simulate. One is if a car has an incident and it's undrivable, the drivers are not to escape that car until they're authorised by race control. So at that point, race control will look at the incident. If a safety car is needed, they will call one, and the driver has to remain in that car. If they think the car could be removed from the track safely in real life, then no safety car will be called. But that's just one of the interesting things this series likes to simulate, and it definitely brings another dynamic to this style of endurance racing, doesn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, it certainly is, and you know, they've got a lot of work to going on in that respect, and it definitely I think as a spectator, I think it's a card that they bring on board and makes it more enjoyable. And I think even from a driver's point of view, it's can be exciting and can be frustrating at the same time, but also it brings in strategy, you know, safety cars, all that sort of stuff, fuel mileage, and just trying to get that car home. I think we all know now that you've got to be there at that last hour to try and race your way for a win. So no, it's definitely interesting and a good initiative by these guys to bring it on into iRacing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing they're doing with the limiting fast repairs down to 2 for 12 hours is to also simulate the attrition at these long races. We've seen it before and we'll see it again, cars being tangled up on the first lap at Bathurst. This is really going to have to calm the guys down for those first couple of laps. What do you think about that, Trent?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You listen to all the real life endurance drivers, and all they talk about is buying a ticket to that last hour. And that's what these guys need to realise. You can't win these races in that first lap, or even the second lap, or even the first hour or second hour. You've got to be there. You've got to last, and you shouldn't even really be starting to really look at seriously aggressive racing until probably well into the 10th and 11th hours of this race, leaving 1 or 2 hours to go.
Yeah, definitely, and those 2 fast repairs are going to play a big part in this today. I'm not sure about you guys, but my prediction is that we're going to start with quite a few safety cars in the first 3 hours, and then as the field thins out, I guess you could say, we'll probably see less. What do you think about that, Adrian?
Yeah, I've got a feeling like that too, Bernie. As we can see, the boys are starting to grid up now. But yeah, it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be hectic on this first lap, that's for sure. So I'd be surprised if I don't see a yellow flag within the first 5 laps. That's for sure. But things could throw it out, and they could have a good clean run for about 20 laps. But those C7s have got cold tyres. We know how gnarly they are on one to 3 laps. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, that's for sure.
Certainly is. Well, we better get through this grid quickly because we've got about quarter of a lap and 1 minute 10 till they commence. So, taking pole position, the 188 Team TTL, Josh Rogers will be starting in that car. The 118 Redback Racing HPD is in second with Aaron Lee in that car. Dayco Motorsports 100 qualified in third. Fourth, Nutters Motorsport Green, the 116. 177 Trans-Tasman Racing is in 5th position at the for the start of the race. 6 is Evolution Racing Australia, the 126. They will be starting from pit lane, from what I understand. The 130 Synergy Sim Racing number 2 is in 7th. Nutters Motorsport Orange is the 115. 8th, 9th, 166 Team VPR. Out of 10th today will be the 137 Carnet TDR. 11th is Tryhards Racing HPD 2, followed by ABR Simulator 2. The 119 Redback Racing HPD will be starting out of 13th. 14th is ABR Simulator Team 1, the 112. 15th is G&T Racing. Andrew Gaines is starting in that car, the 111 entry. 16th, 131 Tryhards Racing HPD 1. OSR DP will be starting out of 17th, and that's the first in Class B. 18th, JFF Racing GT Omega Team. 19th, 228 Evolution Racing Australia. 20th, the 226 Evolution Racing Australia. 21st, 227 Carnet TDR. Then 22nd, the 200 Synergy Sim Racing. 23rd, 230 Sim Racing 3, 24th Krusty Demon Racing, 25th is SDC Motorsport Enduro. Jumping down to Class C, Shane Van Gisbergen took pole for that class, but he's starting from pit lane. Then the 333 Mad Cow Racing Freda will be starting out of 2nd position. As we can see now, the green light has been waved and we're underway here at Bathurst today for the 12 hour. Coming through Hell Corner the first time. It's looking like a clean start for the HPDs. Looking further back, sorry guys, further back in the field, the GT3s, also a good start. I can't see any issues out there at the moment, Adrian.
No, looking pretty good at the moment, Bernie, but it's going to be really interesting as they make their way up the mountain, up through the cutting, and that's going to be interesting actually, the cutting first lap. We know the cars can be nice and loose through there, and a lot of guys have issues in that part and then make their way up the mountain.
Yeah, so far a good clean start. A lot of drivers are just taking it very cautiously. We can see now, as we're coming up through the cutting for the first time, it's looking like a nice clean start here.
Well, the cars got themselves into single file fairly early on, which certainly is going to help them get through these tight sections of track over the top of the mountain. So yeah, well done to the drivers sorting themselves out, not being aggressive and just getting this first lap done.
Yeah, which is the way to be, isn't it? All these guys have probably been tossing and turning throughout the night. Their main thing is they want to do now is get that car into a rhythm, and this is a team event, so the last thing you want to do is bin it on the first lap and have to go back and face your team members and explain exactly what your issue was out there.
Looks like we've got the back of the HPD pack is in line with the front of the DP guys, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not this HPD can manage to get away from the DP class once everything's all up to temperature.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. After the first lap at the moment, Josh Rogers is leading the way for Team TTL, followed by Scott Connors in second. Scott's looking hungry to take the lead early in the 100. We know this team has pace, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go. Aaron Lee in the HPD for Redback Racing is in the third at the moment, and they're another strong team here in Class A today.
Coming out of the cutting there, so it's a notorious corner for every car actually coming out of the cutting. The real right hand kink, the cars get light over a little bit of a hump as it goes to the right, and that usually unweights the car, and the rear end can get a bit unstable.
Yeah, and we just saw a bit of smoke coming out of one of the HPDs as they went through the dipper, and that's probably what you're alluding to there, Trent, how those cars can become a little bit unstable here.
Especially on the trip down the mountain, there's a lot of turning and a lot of braking at the same time, and it's all downhill, and yeah, it's quite scary, really.
Yeah, we can see at the moment the 119 Redback Racing Team HPD2. I think this is what you were talking about earlier, Trent. He's in the mix here with the DPs, and I guess that's not what you want to be, or where you want to be is at the front of the DP class in the Class A, do you?
Yeah, it makes it difficult. You obviously need to have your race, but you don't want to disturb the other races that are going on around you. So I'm sure he's just going to take it easy, make the passes where he can make them, and he won't try and force anything silly. So yeah, I think he should do the right thing here, and hopefully he'll get past these guys and start catching up to the HPD pack.
Yeah, and this car last time started pretty deep in the pack in the 24-hour. They did manage to work their way up to a top 10 by the end of it, so they may not have the pace at the start, but they do have the consistency. Looking at Class B at the moment, that's being led by JFF Racing, and they're coming under a lot of pressure from OSR DP here. That's Kane Kujimiya now looking on the outside as they come up Mountain Straight for the second time this morning.
Trying to make a pass on the outside there's always difficult. You have to rely on the other car really giving you room, and yeah, the GT Omega car just outbraked him.
We've got a HPD around just before the cutting, guys. I'm trying to get the car, I think it's a 115. It is a 115.
Yes, the 115. Fair bit of front end nose damage there too, so he must have hit the wall.
Yeah, we're going straight back to the replay now to catch what happened to the 115. Oh yeah, that car under brakes. It snapped to the left big time and put him into the wall hard. One of the boost entries is also into the wall. I can't get the number of that car, but he hit heavily as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, the 115 into the wall, that was David Jellings behind the wheel of that car, and no doubt that's going to bring out a safety car.
And the person that'll need that safe car is the guys that are started in pit lane. Ian Ford in the HPD back here, I believe he's in 27th, or it might be even 35th position, I'm not sure. My telemetry's a little bit slow at the moment, guys, but working pretty hard. But he's making his way through the GT3 cars, so Class C at the moment, and Shane Van Gisbergen, which is lonely back there, so he needs a safety car to try and catch back up and have a chance at making his way through the field.
Yeah, he definitely does, and we're having a look at this Nutters Motorsport Orange. They did get this car going, so no safety car at the minute, but I don't think their steering's too good because they have hit the wall going across a mountain again, but they are still now just coming down onto Conrod, so we'll keep an eye on that for you folks, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a safety car at this point of the race. Looking at Class C, Mad Cow Racing Frida, doing a fantastic job there, leading the way, and that's followed by the Selby Racing team. 32nd outright, second in class. Hayden Burns is driving that car. Then third is Matthew Nevicote for Oceanic Sim Racing. So it looks like there's a couple of teams already in trouble as we're just completing lap 3 here. So we can see the 271 at the moment. They've had to bring the car in. It looks like Gavin Sadler's jumping out of that car, and we've got Terry Marwood jumping in very early for a stop. It's possibly a fast repair, and we can see the 115 now just limping in.
And there has been a positional change at front. The 118 Redback Racing car has managed to get past the 100 from FSR Deco Motorsport. So yeah, the Redback is now second, and Scott Connors pulled back to third place.
We've got Luke Emerton for All Star Motorsports. He's got a team update he wants to let us know about, so we'll bring him up. Adrian, do you want to do the honours?
Yeah, okay, Ben. Hey Luke, welcome to the RRTV commentary booth. I believe you got a little bit of update for us this morning already?
Yes, good morning everyone. Yeah, just a quick update with our driver roster for the 217. I'd just like to fill you in. We've got Dylan Shepherd, who's going to drive for us in the 217 DP today. But unfortunately, for some reason, we added him to the team for his guest drive, and racing won't allow him to log on under his name. So he will be racing as my good self today. So when you see me flying around setting lap records, unfortunately it won't be me in the car.
It sounds to me like that might have been a deliberate act there, Luke, just to make you look good when Dylan starts setting those fast laps, mate.
Yeah, possibly. There may or may not be some iRacing credits getting slid under the table depending on his performance throughout today. But we are trying to sort out. He is registered in the team. He's listed there, but just for some reason it won't let him log on. So his first stint he'll be under my account, and then we will try and get him to see if he can log into his account once he does his first stint. But yeah, we added him at some point really early this morning, about 6 o'clock, and it just won't let him in under his account, unfortunately.
Right, fair enough. But anyway, Luke, thanks for that update. We'll get back to the action here as we can see the Redback Racing team HPD still in amongst those DPs, but it seems to be settling out a bit there now, guys.
Looking a bit further back in the HPEs, I just watched G&T Racing car just get past the AVR Simulator 2 car coming down the chase. Been behind him for a couple of laps now, and managed to finally get that pass done down into Caltech's chase.
Fantastic, and it's definitely spreading out a bit in Class A already. If we have a look at the lead, Team TTL, let's go to live timing. 2.2 seconds is the gap back to Redback Racing HPD, the number 18. And I can see smoke over the top of the mountain, guys. I'm not sure what that is, but there's quite a bit of it there. We're under yellow.
We've got the 130 car on its roof, just out of the cutting by the looks.
Yeah, that's he's exited that car now. That was Leon Tander, and that car is absolutely trashed. Let's go back and see if we can see exactly what happened to Leon there. And that must have been what the smoke was that I could see from the dipper. We'll go back a bit further. Looks like he's come unstuck on the cutting, guys.
Yeah, it's an unusual looking accident, and especially where the car has actually ended up.
Certainly is, and it was there for quite a while. I'm just trying to go back further and find out exactly what happened to him at this point. But I've lost telemetry, would you believe?
Yeah,
I would believe.
Sorry, Adrian, there seems to be some weird stuff going on with timing at the moment.
Yeah, so I can't actually get that replay up. but he's definitely come unstuck big time at the cutting, and that's going to cost him a fast repair, Adrian.
Yeah, certainly is. I think I've got a little bit here, Bernie. As he's come out of the cutting, it's broken loose on him and hit the fence, and then it's decided to do a flip and do all that wonderful iRacing stuff that it seems to do, and that could be part of my telemetry as well, but obviously he's hit the fence and it's flipped coming up after it's exited the cutting there.
Yeah, I've seen exactly the same thing as you there, Adrian. He's just lost it himself. It's hit the fence, and it's like it's iRacing, the fence has grabbed the car and literally ripped it up off the ground and thrown it on its roof, so it shouldn't have ended up where it did, but those are unfortunate. But yeah, it was definitely looked like a driver error coming out of that corner, and just lost the rear end.
Yeah, and that's probably precisely what we saw with the 115 earlier, the same thing. Under brakes into the cutting, but that car snapped to the right, and they hit the outside fence really hard, and there's no way the driver could recover that with such a violent snap of that car. So that's interesting, because normally the HPDs are pretty stable.
Yeah, depending on, like, pretty much every single one of these cars will be running low downforce setting. The cars have a different, I don't know whether you call it baseline, but they call it high downforce, low downforce, or medium downforce overall packages that these cars run. So every car will be pretty much running a low downforce setup, and unfortunately these cars can be a little bit tricky with the rear end, especially in hot weather. I know some cars last night were having a bit of difficulty in one of the unofficial practice sessions, and the rear end just, you couldn't get the power down too easily. It would just break on you, and you'd see incidences like we've seen so far.
That's interesting, the guys have chosen low downforce for such a long race. Do you know what the speed differential would be between a low force setup and a medium downforce setup on these cars?
I think you're looking possibly in the range of about 20 kilometres an hour down Conrod Straight, so the difference is quite significant. It is actually a lot quicker to run the low downforce rather than the medium downforce style.
Yeah, 20 kilometres an hour down Conrod, that's a huge disadvantage. So I can see why a lot of drivers probably wouldn't want to run the downforce at low, but I don't think they've got much of a choice if they're going to want to be competitive in this race. Just to give you an update, guys, of the top 5 in each class while we're under safety car. So at the moment we have Team TTL leading Class A, followed by Redback Racing HPD, the number 1 team, in second, and then Dayco Motorsports rounds out your top 3 in Class A. Looking back to Class B, we have JFF Racing GT Omega, the 204 entry, followed by the 288 OSR DP in second. Third in Class B is Anthony Manzarella, or Evolution Racing Australia, the number 228. So keep an eye on ERA. They're a strong team, and we would expect them to be quite competitive throughout the day in Class B today. Looking further back to Class C, that's being led by Frida from Outcar Racing. This car's extremely competitive in this field of, looks like we've got quite a few Class C's out there, which is good to see, but this car is one of the favourites for this class. Then we've got Selby Racing Team, the 314, in second for Class C. Then rounding out our top 3 is Oceanic Sim Racing, the number 351, and Matt Nethercoat's driving that car at the moment. Looking at the cars that had to start from pit lane and where they sit. So the 397, they are in the pits at the moment, and they were up to 38th. They're down to 43rd at the moment as they take their pit stop under safety car conditions. And the other car that was the 126, we'll have a look at where that's sitting in the field at the moment. So the 126, they're already up to 25th, and they're still buried in the Class B cars, but with a bit of work to do. But you know, with 11 hours 43 minutes of this race to go, they've got plenty of time to get that car up to a competitive spot.
Yeah, you're right there, Benny. And as we're under safety car, we've had a few cars pit. So a couple of the Corvettes came in. I believe one of the Blackadder cars came into there, and quite a few GT3 cars, and one of those was the 397 as well. So he's made his way up into the pit. So it's not a bad strategy. Get in, get some nice fresh tyres on there for that 397. He'll be making a push to try and get up near the pointy end of his field, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right, and we'll probably see this quite a bit, won't we, under safety car conditions, the guys diving in, depending how many safety cars there are, of course. That was the 266 Blackadder Motorsport car that has pitted. Christian Challoner's behind the wheel of that car. I'm just counting how many have pitted at this point, and it looks like 12 of the 45 cars did take advantage of that stop. See now the safety lights are out, folks, so we're going green this time by, and Josh Rogers for Team TTL will lead the way for this field. Now it's quite interesting, once we get under safety cars, the field pretty much is shuffled up, which can breed other safety cars, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that today.
Yeah, you're right, Bernie. Safety cars with safety cars, we've seen it plenty of times before, and being at the mountain, you know, they're not spread out now as well, so all these classes intertwine, so it can be quite interesting as we go into Hell Corner and then obviously back up Mountain Straight, but Hell Corner will be the one to be watching for, see if we get any contact there, because everyone will be on it.
Oh, they certainly will. They're just coming through Caltech's Chase now. Before we start again, folks, a bit of housekeeping here. If you want to keep track of the different classes, all the Class A cars start with the number 1. Class B start with the number 2. Class C starts with the number 3. As we can see now, Team TTL leading the way as they come down through Murray's Corner for the 7th time. We are green. A good start there by Team TTL, and it's looking like a clean start for Class A at this point as Redback Racing dives on the inside through Hell Corner there, and that move did not stick. You can see back at Class B at the moment, Josh Rogers for JFF Racing on the inside, defending here against Kane Kujimiya in the 288. And the Class C cars has also got a good start. 333 Frieda is leading the way there from Selby and Oceanic Sim Racing, so no change in position there, guys.
Yeah, once again, very orderly there, guys. Doing a great job after a safety start. I know they haven't completed the lap yet, but I see a little bit of smoke. Someone got a little bit excited, or unless it was my frame rates. But no, they're all doing a great job here at the moment, and it just goes to show they've definitely got their mindset on a 12-hour race and not a 30-minute sprint, that's for sure.
There's a few close calls at the back of the HPD field on that restart, but everyone gave room, and instead of fighting for corners, once the lead car was in front, the trailing car did lift off and let that car take the corner, so there was no real battling and fighting, but there was a few close moments, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's good to see that they did get a nice clean start. As you can see, Synergy Sim Racing now passing the Evolution Racing Australia entry of the 228, Anthony Mansarella behind that wheel coming into Caltech's Chase. So at the moment in Class that was for 3rd position. But he's got the 2 Evolution Racing Australia cars behind him in 4th and 5th for Class B at the moment.
Looks like we had a bit of an incident between the 116 and the 132 exiting the chase. The 116 car is the loser out of that equation.
Got a spinner too, Warwick Brown in car number 205 coming out of Hell Corner. Looks like it's all good, he's running again, so one of those things, it took an extra lap for something to happen.
Yeah, and he's down in 33rd position, or it's got 23rd on the screen, but 33rd here on my driver telemetry. But it's interesting to see these DPs. They seem to look like they get a little bit bent in the front end there. I'm not sure if that's just my camera, but he's definitely looking like he's got a bit of front end damage to the front left of that car.
Yeah, it's I've been noticing it happening on my screen too, Bernie, but give it a few minutes, sometimes it'll clear up. So I was having a little bit of issue earlier with just the network, I suppose, just a lot of downloading, just because there's so many cars on track today, and just goes to show, second race, and we've got this massive field, which is, oh, there's a spinner here. Frieda's turned around, Bernie, the leading car has turned around, going into Forest Elbow.
Yeah, and it's we'll jump back and have a look at that replay. It's got a lot of damage, and that's going to be huge ramifications for that car. It was leading the class. As we can see, as it's coming across the top of the mountain, it's already got substantial damage down the left-hand side of that car, and you can see him wrestling it down through the dipper here, and he was sporting a lot of damage before that incident. As we see him just losing it, yeah, that car's got a lot of suspension damage already, Adrian, and unfortunately he's come big time, hit the wall, made friends with that wall coming down through Forest Elbow.
Yeah, so my suspicions, he may have hit the wall, probably coming down through the dipper and collected the wall there some stage, or even through McPhillamy, you know, slight line in correction through there, just off the apex a bit. You can definitely give the wall a clout there and wreck your wing or damage the car in some way, shape or form, and by the time he got down to the Forest Elbow, he's got no aero on there, and it's just spun around.
Yeah, definitely. He was carrying a lot of damage coming across Skyline, so he may have even clouded the wall coming up through Reed Park. We just don't know, but that's going to put that car in a very difficult position for the rest of the race here. So looking at Class C, it looks like the 351 is... I'm just trying to find out here. My telemetry is all over the place, and it's definitely struggling with all these cars on track. But I think the car that should be leading the way now is the Selby Racing Team, the 314, and he's got a DP right behind him, guys.
Yeah, you'd be right with that, Bernie. So the naming sponsor car is actually in the lead in his class, which is really good to see. They definitely put a lot of work in, and good to see them at the front. And you know, it's great that they've put their name to the series as well. So great work from those guys.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they, you know, they're very enthusiastic about their racing, and it's great to see them as a series sponsor of this. And if you're wondering what Selby.com.au is about, well, there's Selby Acoustics. They do a lot of audio-visual gear as well as sim racing gear. So if you're into audio-visuals, TVs and all that sort of thing, or you're looking for sim racing gear, go to selby.com.au. So at the moment we can see Frieda's back out, and it's gone down a lap to the Class A cars, but the important thing is it needs to stay up a lap for Class C, I guess, so that it can try to claw its way back into this race. So at the moment out front, Team TTL, Josh Rogers is leading the way. The gap back to Redback Racing is 1.5 seconds, but that will all be taken away if we get another safety car.
In the cutting.
Sorry?
Big accident in the cutting. 111, 116, HPVs and GT3 cars are all involved.
Wow, it is a huge accident in the cutting. And you're right, there's a lot of cars there. The 331 is absolutely mangled. We'll see if we can get back to a replay of this just to see exactly what unfolded here. So we're joining the replay as they come up Mountain Straight, and we can see the 111, that's a G&T Racing entry with Andrew Gaines behind the wheel, coming up Mountain Straight now, and just see exactly what happened here. I need to apologise to all our viewers as well. I'm still having technical difficulties with our graphics at the moment. Yeah, the 331 basically cut loose at the cutting under brakes there as he turned through the corner. That brought the 111 into the wall. The boost had nowhere to go either. The 334 then rear-ended, and it's very, very messy here.
And the 111 car had just come into the pit lane because of damage, so they may have used a fast repair in that one. And I'd say this is another fast repair they're going to be using here. So only 30 minutes into the race and having used 2 fast repairs, it doesn't bode well.
No, it doesn't. Is that the car you're driving in today, Trent?
Yeah, if I do jump in the car, that's supposed to be the car I'm driving in, if we still have a car by then.
Yeah, it's... So that's the second fast repair for this car used up, is it?
Just asking the team now to confirm that, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Alright, he's going around again anyway, so let's get back to the action, guys, while Trent does some digging for us. So looking at Class B, we haven't given them a lot of coverage today, unfortunately, but I hope we will. Warren Burke is making a move now on the OSR DP, coming into the chase. And he should get this move made if my graphics will behave themselves. And he makes that move, so that brings the 200 up to second in class, and that class is being led by the 204 at the moment. JFF Racing GT Omega is leading that class, and the gap back to the guys is 1.3 seconds.
There's a little bit of spread between these guys now in there. You've got the front 4, I think it is, at the moment fairly close. Then you've got the 2 ERA cars coming up around now, up to the cutting now, and then you've got Reese Goldfinch leading the next little battle here, and they've got a HBD stuck between. Well, actually, there's a couple of HBDs there as well. So. Another quite interesting situation there at the moment.
Yeah, and that Boost Energy entry, that was one of the cars that was involved in an incident earlier, and they're trying to get their way back up through that field at the moment. So it's looking fairly muddled, isn't it, down here in Class B, because they've got the Class A's just trying to get through at the moment. See Tim Ballinger here running 18th at the moment in the CarNet TDR entry, and he's got that boost car behind him. As we look from the back of his car, we'll just see the HPD now starting to stretch its legs, getting that toe, and it should get past him before they get to the chase.
Yeah, it's got that job done, hasn't he? So good job there, but you know, with that extra 20 kilometres an hour, it definitely helps those cars, because if they had that other setting there, guys, I reckon that C7 would have kept up with that HPD.
Yeah, there's not much of a speed differential between the DP and the HPD, is there?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we saw that at Daytona, how quick these C7s are. They've definitely got a straight line pace, but once again, we can say like the HPDs have got more aero on them, and it makes it so much easier for them. Power to weight ratio is so much bigger as well as those C7s. A lot of horsepower. Got a little bit of downforce, but don't have an ABS, so that's one downfall they have. They can't break into the corners as well as the others, but they definitely have traction control and got plenty of torque and plenty of grunt to go with it. So nice little car, that one.
Yeah, it sure is. And meanwhile, over here, folks, I'm trying to work out our graphics lag at the moment. It's very frustrating for me, I must admit, but I'm just trying to persevere at this stage until we come under safety car. Then I will have a look at it, I promise you that. But at the moment, looking out front, we can see our race leader, Team TTL, they're already starting to lap the GT3s. Once they get in the traffic around here, it's pretty much going to be like that for the rest of the day, isn't it, Adrian?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Trent will be able to cheer for us at the moment. You get into these lap cars, and you're going to have to try and push, and you've got to have patience going across the mountain. But obviously, with the lap cars, if you can get around them at the right time, you'll get an advantage. But if you get stuck behind one, you're going to get the guy racing you for position to close up in on you, and then you're going to have a lot of pressure on you. So it's going to be quite interesting throughout the day, seeing how well these HPD drivers handle the pressure getting through these lap cars.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bernie. Yeah, I can confirm that. Yeah, it's a delicate balance. We lost out a lot in the previous race at Daytona, where we would sort of yield a little bit and not go to force the overtake on a GT3 car, and another HPD to take advantage and get past us and the GT3 car with what we deemed an aggressive move, but no contact was made. But we certainly had to get out of the way to make sure no contact was made. So, like you said, when you're fighting for position, you will get some people who they'll see the car out in front making a gap, and they'll want to pull that in. While I'm talking as well, I can confirm from the G&T racing team, car 111, they did use a fast repair for a wall contact they had just before that incident we saw at the cutting. They're choosing not to use the last fast repair for this pit stop. So they're in the pit at the moment, taking an 8-minute repair to try and fix the damage to their car.
Okay, so that'll probably put them down, about 5 laps, I guess. But now with the 111, I guess the decision behind that trend is to get that car home, and if you use that last fast repair, it puts you in a pretty bad position.
Yeah, there could be another accident later in the race. That accident obviously wasn't the fault of the 111, it was just an unfortunate accident, but you can always get caught up in other people's crashes and that sort of thing, and a crash later in the race may be worse damage, you may blow an engine, that sort of stuff. So it's good to keep the fast repairs for those sort of major accidents instead of just the small few-minute repair jobs.
Yeah, and as we saw, it can come unstuck pretty quickly around here at Mount Panorama. This track bites hard when it does decide to bite, and we've seen that quite a bit this morning, with a number of teams already having to take lengthy pit stops. The 232, we can see that's also in the pits at the moment, and getting a lot of work done to that. The 334 again is in there, as well as a 331, and then the 130 is also in trouble. Well, it was in trouble. It's back out now in 43rd position, but it had a very lengthy pit stop repairing damage, and so did the 300 Pagny and IRFF entry. It had a lengthy stop as well. The 398, let's have a look at that car. That also has kept the pit crews extremely busy here with a very long stop. So it looks like Adrian, the teams are opting to take very long stops to repair these cars to try to hang on to those fast repairs.
Yeah, it's an option that you've got to weigh up, isn't it, for sure. It's such a long race, 12 hours is a long race, and to use them all up now is one of the hardest things to do, because you want to make sure that you've got a car, but at the end of the day, is it the right call? Well, that's what they've got to do. As I've been watching the leader here try and get through the cars here, so and then we've got a really close battle up front because of that. But yeah, it's a call that these teams have got to make, and it's a hard one, to be honest. I'm glad I'm up here and I don't have to make those choices, because do you take them all now and have nothing for the rest of the race, and you've got to keep repairing them, or like Trent says, hang on to one, because you may blow your engine, and that's when you need one, because once you blow your engine, there's a good half an hour gone. So to get 8 minutes is probably better than using it up, and then you've got half an hour or an hour to fix a car.
Yeah, we've just had news through from Race Control. The 132 Tryhards Racing 2 team has just had a drive-through penalty for contact with the 116. Now I'm just trying to see where the 116 is. It's a long way down, and that was with Nutters Motorsport Green, and they're 37th at the moment.
I think that might be the incident I alluded to earlier in the coming out of the exit of the chase. The 132 come up the inside of the 116. Unfortunately, the 116 ended up off track from a little bit of side contact.
Thanks for that, Trent. And back at the action here, we can see Carnet TDR Timothy Schweck at the moment, 4th in class for HPD. He's coming up to the 308 Man Cave Motorsport, and he'll make that pass before they get into Murray's. The 308 at the moment, I'm just having a look, that's Mitchell Abrahall behind the wheel of that car. They're running 31st outright at this stage of the race. There's a little bit of a gap in Class B between GT Omega JFF Racing and the 200 Synergy Sim Racing. These guys are pretty much just separated by, let's have a look at what the gap is. It's only 0.6 of a second, but it looks like Synergy Sim Racing is settling in for the long haul here.
Yeah, sorry Bernie, I was just listening to Race Control there at the moment. A little bit of warning going out, but we're now getting into the situation that this traffic is getting quite heavy coming up to the cutting. We've got GT3s and we've got the HPDs coming through, so this is where the HPDs are stuck at the moment, and we've got like 4 of them in a row here at the moment stuck behind a GT3, so this is going to be interesting at the moment. I'm going to stick with these guys for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, once they get down here on the Conrod Straight, they should start clearing them as we see them go past, that was Matthew Trotman. Now they're coming up to Shane Van Gisbergen, and they make their way through there down to Caltex Chase. Selby's the next one. They're actually coming up to the race Class B leaders here, and we can see they've cleared Hayden Burns. The next one is Oceanic Sim Racing. They are currently leading Class C.
Yes, and isn't that, see how the safety car has brought Shane Van Gisbergen up to 2nd place, so and he took a pit stop and it's got fairly fresh tyres compared to the Shelby boys, so this goes to show a safety car helped those guys out to push them up, and same with Ian Ford, he's up into 7th at the moment, so starting from pit lane probably wasn't a disadvantage for these boys, and got that safety car which helped them out immensely.
Yeah, definitely, and Shane's no stranger to the mountain. We saw he did win his class in the Bathurst 12 hour, and he's doing a good job here. He's running 3rd in class, and he's just starting to pace himself now. Hayden Burns in the Selby Racing team's just ahead of him. but it's looking like Class C is definitely getting into that rhythm now.
Yeah, for sure, and you know, Hayden will probably be in that car a lot today, Bernie. He did a lot in the Daytona 24 hours, and he's quite a good driver, Hayden, and you know, so is Shane obviously as well, because we know who he is. But yeah, they're going to push forward and doing a great job. I mean, how many safety cars we've had today has only been one. We've had incidents that have been cleared up, but having these green flag runs is definitely good for the racing, and see how well the boys go. And this action as HPDs go through the field is quite interesting, and edge on your seat sort of stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's where it gets challenging, doesn't it? When you're in that HPD, you really have to be patient and should believe it, folks. If you're in a HPD stuck behind a GT3, it almost feels like you're in first position. As we can see now, the 100 Dayco entry just getting past Selby, and yeah, it's getting a bit crazy back here.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Shane trying to take a position here off of Hayden as they're going into Hell Corner.
And he makes that move, and that's the thing, isn't it? When you've got these fast HPDs around, these Class C guys are still racing, and they will go for position, and that's when the HPD guys just have to be patient. Otherwise, they're going to have a big accident. We can see now Hayden on the outside, Van Gisbergen on the inside with one of the Evolution Racing Australia HPDs trying to get past.
Yeah, and it makes it so hard as he got through, you know, had the power to get through there, which was good. He waited patiently before you know, he made a move, so that was great driving there, and as the boys start going up through and across the mountain now.
Yeah, and you could see just the way the Class C guys did that. Like, Shane saw an opening there. He didn't let the HPDs intimidate him. He made his move, and he trusted the HPDs would do the right thing and just bide their time to pass them when they got to the straights, which is what they did.
I've actually noticed everyone in this series has stepped up, and I think Trent might be able to, you know, comment on this a lot more as a driver. But just watching the guys, I know they had a few issues in free practice and that, but it definitely have stepped it up a level, and the quality in this field is really strong now.
Yeah, especially compared to last season. Yeah, drivers are more aware of the multi-class aspect of the racing, and there's no super aggressiveness. The GT3s are more aware of the faster cars coming through, all that sort of stuff. So it's a combination of obviously the caliber of drivers that we've got, and obviously we've got all drivers have pretty much got a season's worth of experience under their belts now to try and learn how to drive with the traffic around here. I know Bathurst last year was quite interesting, the amount of safety cars. I think in the first hour there was 5 safety cars or something silly like that. It was just a crash every couple of laps, and a lot of that was also lack of preparation from different teams, just yeah, not putting in the effort, I guess you could say, whereas a lot of people have stepped up this year. And probably a big shout out to those try-hard boys. They've been putting up sessions almost daily in the lead up to this race, so that everyone can get in and get plenty of practice on track around other cars and that sort of thing, and yeah, trying to learn what you can and can't get away with in the traffic. So that's important to do in the practice, so that you know what you can and can't do during the race.
If you're wondering, folks, why we've got a black screen, I'm just trying to adjust our graphical glitch here to make sure we can bring you the best quality of racing under these very difficult situations.
Yeah, it's
I think
difficult.
Okay, we'll see how this goes, folks, and I guess, you know, Adrian, this is one reason why I need to get that money to get a darn upgrade to this infuriating computer of mine.
Yes, we've got a bit of action back here with the B-class cars at the moment, Bernie. We've got second place, third place, trying to get around these GT3s, because first place got around them quite early and has shot through as the HPD there's a battle on for second place in this class with the HPD coming as well. So it's all action to front here coming into the chase.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's a team simulated also in the mix there of the 288, 204. So the 204's Josh Burton at the moment in the thick of it, and the 334, that car's also looking very beat up for such an early start to this race.
Now I've just caught a little bit of contact here too, Bernie, at car number 119 with a GT3 coming into the chase here. Looks like he's had a little tap and it's put him into the fence a little bit, so I don't know how well that car's going to be after that.
Yeah, well, we know with the HPD's DPs, they can bend the chassis of these cars very easily, can't they?
Oh yeah, and if you bend that floorboard, it really throws that car right.
It certainly does. It looks like we've got Colin Schweck down there waiting for an interview. We'll bring Colin up. He's driving with his brother Timothy in the 137. Hi Colin, welcome to RRTV's commentary booth. Thanks for waiting. How's the race panning out for you guys?
Yeah, we're going quite well. We struggled in quality to get a clean lap, so we qualied in 10th spot, and we probably should have been 4th or 5th. And we've managed to work our way up to 3rd, so yeah, it's panning out pretty well. We're just taking it easy through the traffic, and Michael in 4th, who's with us, is also taking it easy, so yeah, it's going alright at the moment.
Fantastic, yeah. We've seen a lot of teams in trouble already, and we've only been running for 50 minutes, so it's good to see you guys have got a good start there and settled into 3rd position. Have you heard much from your brother as far as the handling of the car goes?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We struggled through the week to get something that was comfy, and we ended up going with a more conservative setup. So it seems to be paying off for us because he's doing comfortable laps now, and he's not having to push to the limit all the time. So it's working well.
Yeah, once you get that gap between the guys in front and behind, you can sort of start getting into that rhythm, which is what it looks like Tim's doing at this stage of the race. So what's the plan? How long is Tim going to stay in that car for?
We'll probably do a double stint. We'll see how he's going to see if we can do a triple stint, and then we'll either swap myself in or maybe Aaron. But I think I'll go in after Tim. But we will do minimum double stints because you lose about 4 or 5 seconds by doing a driver swap with this car. So if you can do a double, you save 5 seconds.
Yeah, that makes sense. That could be why we see the Dayco boys normally go very deep into their sessions as well to save that 5 seconds, which is a lot out on track, isn't it?
It is, and if the drivers are up to it and you can push a 3 or a 4 stint, you can save 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds, so which adds a lot of time on track, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I could definitely imagine that. I'm just going to hand you over to Adrian and see if he's got any questions for you, Colin.
Thanks, Bernie. Hey, Colin. Looks like you guys are doing well, like Bernie said, and the car's handling quite well. How's the traffic? I know you'd be impatient, but it looks pretty full on out there at the moment.
Yeah, it's okay. The practice sessions are a bit iffy, but everyone seems to be doing the right thing at the moment. So the traffic's busy, but I wouldn't say it's dangerous. As long as you are willing to lose a bit of time across the top of the mountain, everything kind of goes alright.
And the schedule today, obviously you've already said that double stinting or maybe even triple stinting. What's the plans? Are you going to try and share it out between the three of you today? Try and keep it really fair share, or are you going to just see who's the fastest and probably keep him in the most time?
No, we'll probably do an even split between the 3 drivers. Tim starting the race. He's probably got the little bit more pace, so he's going to start it, and he'll probably finish the race. And then myself and Aaron will just take up the middle section of the race.
Would you believe I had a question? I've lost it, but it's looking good at the moment. You're in third, so that's a good position to be in at the moment. You guys stayed out on the first safety car?
Yeah, we did. We weren't anywhere near our pit stop window. It's probably coming up in about six laps, maybe 5 laps for pits. But I was having a look at that train under the safety car, and I reckon if you pit under the safety car and you get at the back of the train, you're going to lose probably 30 seconds before you get underway again when the green goes. So I think if you're close to pit stops, it might be worth staying at the front near the safety car, do 2 laps on the green, and then pit.
Yeah, that's good information. You're probably right there, getting stuck all the way back there. Got to fight your way through the GT3s, which probably aren't your biggest problem. It's actually the Corvettes would be the hardest ones to get through.
They're tough. If you don't get a good run at a Forest Elbow, it's pretty hard to get them into the chase. And Mountain Straight's not too bad, but you can only get 1 of them usually. 2 if they're playing nice. So if you catch up to a bunch of them, then you can spend maybe 2 laps behind them, which costs you probably 4 seconds, 5 seconds a lap. So yeah, it's just a matter of timing it and being careful and making sure we don't hit the wall, because we've only got the 2 fast repairs and we don't want to use any of them. So stay out of the wall and we probably will end up in the top 5 somewhere.
Yeah, and the limit on these fast repairs are definitely making it a lot tougher for you guys to stay on track. So it gives you a concentration level. As we got a spinner there coming out of Forest Elbow, but looks like he's underway again just in front of Tim. So a little bit of a scary moment there, but no, it's good, and obviously it brings the realism up a little bit, up that level a little bit more for you guys, yeah?
Yeah, that's it, and it makes you drive in a bit more of a conservative manner. I mean, there's no need to gain that extra 2 or 3 tenths of a lap per lap, because if you're in the wall, then that's pretty much a lap down. So with the rate we're losing the leaders, maybe 2 seconds a lap, we have to have about 2 hours of green running before we're going to go a lap down. So we should be okay.
Yeah, great. And I suppose the other thing, we know that safety cars are going to come out eventually. There's no question about it with this track. So as the race goes on, the safety car should come out a lot more often, unfortunately for some people, but fortunately for others.
Yeah, I imagined it was going to come out early, which we expected. I imagine as we get further into this race and people are driving with damage instead of using their fast repairs, we're going to see a few more cars go into the wall just because they're driving with the damage. So I think it will pick up towards the middle of this race, and then as people start not bothering going around because they've got too much damage, then I think we should get some good green running towards maybe the last 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, that's great, and I think I've run out of questions for you, but keep it up. You're doing a great job out there, keeping that HBD going. I might hand you over to Trent, because obviously Trent's running the HBDs as well, and he might have a few more questions that I don't have for you, as we can see Tim's closing in on some of these BMWs at the moment, and looks like he might have a good clear run down Conrad here.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting them in good spots. Sometimes we're a bit careful across the top, but it's working all right. Everyone's pretty smart. So I've noticed a couple of the riskier GT3 cars to pass are usually, I think most of them have already used up their fast repairs. So luckily that's kind of helped out a bit, as they're not really on the track at the moment.
I probably don't really have a lot of questions to ask, but yeah, during the practice sessions and stuff leading up to here, did you find the hotter track temps were sort of harder to deal with, just in relation to generally how the car reacted to hot temperatures?
Yeah, we found with the hotter stuff, the car was a little bit more iffy under brakes. So when we're doing nice consistent laps, it was okay. But if you had to touch the brakes a bit harder, or say stop to avoid someone else, it was a bit iffy and it would spin you into the wall. So With this temperature's not too bad. We're quite comfortable in the 43 degrees, but when it was pushing the 46, it was a bit uncomfortable.
It is pretty interesting how the weather actually can affect the behaviour of the cars so significantly. So far, we're actually seeing a lot of pretty safe and common sense passes going on. Nothing really being pushed to the limit over the top of the mountain. So it's probably the first race, probably ever, in AEC that the GT3 or all the classes really have pretty much agreed on where and how and why passes should be made in certain areas of the track. Are you finding that sort of thing as well, like everyone's sticking to that sort of gentleman's agreement that was spoken about?
Yeah, I am finding that, and but we've already noticed in this stint already that we had, like I say, a 6-second lead over one of the other blokes who were racing, and we stuck to the gentleman agreement, and he didn't have a car in front of him, and that gap went to 0 by the time we finished the mountain. So I reckon as we get towards the finish of this race and people are trying to run away or catch up to someone else, there's going to be a bit of iffy passes going across the top.
Yeah, it's certainly probably going to happen, especially later in this race when cars are fighting for positions. I think that I still don't think there'll be super aggressive moves, but I think that gentleman's agreement of 0 passes across the top will probably eradicate pretty quickly.
I agree, and I think as long as everyone's aware and they play nice, you can get passed across the top. It's just you just got to be aware of what's happening.
Yeah, I have seen some of the basically the lead cars of each classes have been making room and doing some passes across the top, but only in certain places, and each car's obvious, like they've obviously know where the other ones are going to go, and they can get the passes done pretty cleanly, which is good. So good luck for the rest of the race, mate, and I'll pass you back to Bernie.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for popping in, Colin. Before we let you go, though, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, so Carnet Auctions, they're our major sponsor. So if you're after a car, just check out Carnet Auctions. So that's carnet.com.au. GLW Freight Management, they help us out as well, so you can check them out if you need to move freight. And then TD Racing, everyone's put in a lot of effort to try and get the cars comfortable and get everyone else comfortable with the laps. So it's a good team effort, and hopefully it pays off at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Just stick with it, and third at the moment. You could possibly be getting a position shortly, though, because Race Control has put out a edict on the 118 Redback Racing Team entry for contact with the 231. We're just waiting to see what that penalty is at this stage. But yeah, stay tuned, Tim. Colin.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I've noticed the 2 top HBDs are pushing that gentleman's agreement a little bit to the edge of the agreement. So I imagine there will be a few cases of incidents with them unless they tone it back a bit.
Yeah, well, that gap at the moment, they were fighting for position very aggressively, but all of a sudden, Team TTL is out to 6.3 seconds lead now. So they've maybe the Redback team has decided to tone it back a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how it goes. Still got we just got 11 hours to go from now, so it's a long way. Yeah,
so Race Control, latest news on that. The 118 does have a drive-through penalty, so that's going to move you guys up into second by the looks of it.
Good. That's very good.
Fantastic. Anyway, thanks for popping in, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cool, thanks guys. I'll see if I can drop up later in the day, but and hopefully we're still in third or second.
No worries. To all our viewers out there, I apologise for the screen going off there temporarily. As you could see prior to that, we have been battling all morning with graphical issues, and I've been trying to repair that during that interview. Hopefully we have a stable connection now, and let's just cross our fingers and see how we go. But looking at Class A at the moment, the 188, our team leader, has just pitted. Well, he's pitting now, so that must be a scheduled stop, I guess. It probably would be, wouldn't it? We're how far into this race are we now? Just about 1 hour in, or just over an hour. So that brings the 118 up to the lead, but we know they've got a drive-through penalty to serve in the next couple of laps. And then in the third, the Carnet TDR. They're now also doing their scheduled stop. So I don't know, this 118 drive-through couldn't come at a worse time, because these guys would be coming in for a scheduled stop soon, but when they do their drive-through they can't use it, so they're going to have to just be very careful as far as fuel mileage goes in this car, because they're going to either have to pit it, or I'd say more likely have to do the drive-through and then have to do their scheduled stop after that.
Yeah, and that's pushing the boundaries of their fuel window, isn't it? If these guys are pitting now, they know that they've probably got 1, maximum 2 laps left in the fuel tank, so they're getting the fuel stops done now, and it's going to be pushing it for those guys if they do it that way. As we'll have to see how they go.
Yeah, it's putting a big question mark over that car at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that, folks. Having a look at the guys that have pitted, the 188 has done their stop. We saw them coming in, 32.4 seconds for that car. The 137 now down into 5th, but they've done their stop. We saw them coming in, 28.8 second stop for that car. So the thing is with Class A, folks, is they can change tyres and fill at the same time in that class, which is why they're so quick. Now we can see now the 118's coming into the pits. It looks like they're going to service that car and not do their drive-through at this point, so they may not have had the fuel range to actually do that at this stage of the race. And it looks like safety car is out as well.
Yeah, the 132 car's stopped up Mountain Straight. I'm not sure why or what's happened there, but they've just come to a stop.
And they're back in the pits now. That was a Triads Racing HPD2. That car's been in the wars a fair bit today, hasn't it? Yes, it has. I'll answer my own questions then.
Yeah, that car's just come out of the pit lane, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, we can see the 118 now coming out of that pit, and I guess in a way they're lucky they got out before that safety car got out, or else it could have been rather interesting for that team.
Yeah, and will they be allowed to do their drive-through under yellow, or do they have to wait until it goes green? I'm not too sure. They have to check the rules and regulations for that one.
I'd say they'll have to wait for it to go green and then do their drive-through. I'm not sure if they're allowed to serve it. Maybe that's something one of you guys could go and have a look at the rules and regs and report back to us on that one. While I take the viewers through the Class B positions. So Christian Challoner for Blackadder Motorsport is leading that class, 11th outright at the moment, and first in Class B. Josh Burton second in Class B, followed by Nutters Motorsport Orange, doing a great job. The 115 in third position at the moment, the 13th outright. Looking at Class C, folks, that's being led by this car, the ANZ Motorsports entry, the 397 with Shane Van Gisbergen behind the wheel of that car. The 351 is second, Oceanic Sim Racing. So they are running second in Class C, and then third in Class C is Selby Racing Team. So I know we're under yellow, guys, but I cannot see the safety cars. I'm assuming it's out there somewhere, as we can see the leader now coming up behind a GT3 car, Delta Sim Sport. And I guess, you know, when you're under yellow, you can't overtake, so he's just going to have to bide his time till the safety car picks him up. We're going up Mountain Straight now. We're just waiting to see if we can see the safety car. I'm assuming it's up Mountain Straight here somewhere.
Yeah, safety car's still sitting at the end of the pit lane, just about to exit right now.
Okay, so the race leaders actually slowed right up here, and they're waiting for the safety car to pick them up, I guess. This is interesting, isn't it, Trent? When we get to this position when there's a bit of confusion, it can work to the advantage of some teams, can't it, as far as we see the safety car goes past, as far as getting a lap gained and all that sort of messy stuff that iRacing tends to have under the safety car rules.
Yeah, it is, and it's especially hurtful to the lower classes. Obviously, because there's so many laps down anyway, like if a certain car happens to just get passed by the leader, and there's another car just in front of the leader when the safety car comes out, those two cars that might have been battling a couple of seconds apart will now be a full lap apart, and that could be quite unfortunate when things like that happen. But yeah, there's a few different bugs that I know Scott Stevens from Race Control is really working hard on trying to get iRacing to look at and to fix. And yeah, he's trying to get those bugs looked at. There's been some test sessions to try and get those looked at and worked out as well. So there's a lot of effort going in behind the scenes to try and limit the amount of issues that are had by this. And this is a new looking bug to me. I've never seen this happen before ever.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it where the safety car actually is so long to come out, but it's quite interesting. Obviously, Race Control is trying to handle the situation because the safety car is actually passing cars up here across the skyline as it tries to find which car it's meant to pick up. So maybe that's Race Control trying to mitigate that one lap down bug that we've seen so many times in this series.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, I know the number 397 car was on the radio saying that he was being told to let the safety car by, and the safety car was still sitting in the pit lane. So I don't know why safety car hasn't picked up the leader and instead picked up a GT3 car. But yeah, that'll be looked at post race, I guess. And Scott Stevens will do his thing, and he'll report that to iRacing, and we'll get feedback from that during the week when he does his post race debrief.
Yeah, we can see now the safety car has caught up to the 397 and it's slowed down a little bit, so I think it's happy where it's at the front of the queue. And I guess, in all fairness to iRacing, it must be very difficult to program in an AI to know exactly where it's got to slot in during a live race as we see here.
That's it, especially with the multi-classes happening, the amount of cars are laps down, etc. And the whole safety car is sort of more based on the oval side rules of iRacing, not so much the road side. So road side's a bit glitchy because it's based on oval rules and oval racing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But what this does do for our team leaders, our race leaders, that's Team TTL, they're pretty much buried right in the middle of this pack, and as is the 118, who's still got that drive through to serve. You can see the 308 now being waved through, so it may take a little while for this field to try to sort itself out. And for those viewers joining us, that is because the safety car came out very late. We can see now quite a few GT3 cars deciding to take to the pits here.
It looks like the field's now getting their wave arounds, all these lap cars that were behind the safety car. And we should see the leader now pick up safety car.
Yeah, and they're being waved by, but the safety car lights are out. So that's not going to give them enough time to actually get back on the back of this train. Which, no doubt they're going to be driving as quickly as they can to try to make up as much ground as they can on this field, but it doesn't leave them a lot of time, does it?
No, we've got a lot of drivers actually on the radios complaining about black flags being given for passing the safety car and entering the closed pit again. So it's unfortunate for these guys and going to make Race Control's job that much harder at the moment.
Yeah, and again, that's out of their control, isn't it? But Race Control does a fantastic job up there. They've got generally one, maybe two people up there at any one time. If they're lucky, they've got three, but they really run on a shoestring. And I was speaking to the race director, Scott Stevens, this morning. He's probably only had about 40 minutes sleep during the night, so he's doing a fantastic job there. And he's only got another 10 hours and 47 minutes to stay awake before he can go and have a well-earned rest.
He certainly likes to make it hard for himself, that's for sure. But no, he's really dedicated to this series and making sure that it's run the way it needs to be run. So yeah, definitely big shout out to Scott Stevens in Race Control and the organiser of the series. Does a fantastic job week in, week out. Being a race series administrator myself, I know how much work is required behind the scenes. So it's massive. This is on a scale that no one's ever really seen before. So really big shout out to him.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing that the viewers may not be aware of, is a lot of these series, and broadcasts for that matter, are really run on a shoestring budget to bring you these pictures and these races. And hopefully we're going to see more people step up to help out, or sponsors to come on board just to help these guys out a bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hosting racing isn't free. People do have to pay for these servers to be put up. It may not be a lot of money for one race, but when you put together an entire season or an entire year of racing, it certainly does add up. So it's always difficult for those guys, and I know the drivers do appreciate the effort that these organisers do put into running these series.
Oh yeah, they definitely do, and we can see now an example of Race Control in action. They've told the safety car to turn its lights back on to allow this field to sort itself out, so that's a good call there. And it looks like we're going to have another lap through. But while we're waiting, folks, I'm going to bring up Alan Shipway. He's the tryhards manager, and let's have a chat with Alan. Hi Alan, welcome to RRTV's commentary box. We thought we'd bring you up while we're under safety car conditions. How's the race shaping out for your team today?
Good and bad. Our HBD teams are a few laps down. One had a pit lane speed limiter stuck on and accidentally hit the ignition trying to get it removed, and then they couldn't get it restarted again. Number 334 came into an accident with 331 at the cutting, and they lost 15 minutes of repairs. Other than that, we're not doing too bad, I guess.
Yeah, we saw that. I think it's a tryhards 2 has had a fairly rough start, but it's good to see you guys are still out there and running with 10 hours 45 to go. How many fast repairs are you guys burnt through at the moment?
232 had choose one, 131 had choose one, and everybody else hasn't used any.
Fantastic. Well, that's good news, because I know some of the teams out there have used all their fast repairs already, so it puts you guys in a great position. So how are you enjoying the Bathurst 12 hour so far?
Not too bad. We're giving our new sponsors some airtime there, and it's going pretty good. We've got all new sponsors on board for this race and the rest of the round.
Fantastic, and we've just got your cars up on the screen at the moment, and it looks like you've changed the livery on these cars too. Is that to match your sponsors?
Yes, that's our sponsors' requirement. We're sponsored now by Great White Lights, and they wanted to have a majority of white on the car, with the black being the night and the white being the to significant the represent the lights. So that's why we got the black and the white.
Okay, fantastic. And do these guys have a website, and if so, where could the viewers find them?
Good question, Bernie.
Okay.
Good question. I reckon it'd be greatwhitelights.com, I'd say.
Okay,
But
yeah.
we were lucky enough to get these sponsorships after the last round at Daytona, and the race hadn't even settled, and we were notified by 2 sponsors that they were interested in coming on board, so we were very, very lucky. As a result, now we were able to supply the AEC round with 3 practice sessions a week.
Oh, that's fantastic, and I'm sure all the drivers of this series would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's courtesy of our sponsors, so it's pretty good benefit for us as a sponsor, I think.
Oh, definitely, and that's just what we were talking about earlier, was trying to get sponsors on board. It doesn't cost them a lot of money, but it definitely goes a long way, and that's a good example of just where that money does go. It goes back into the community or into the team or into the drivers, and helps us all build this into a better event for everyone.
Yes, and it's a pretty big event with full grid, so it can only get better and bigger, can't it?
Yeah, exactly right. Anyway, the safety car lights are out, Alan, so we'd like to thank you and your sponsors, Great White Lights, for coming up to having a chat with us. Best of luck for the rest of the race, and pop up later on the day.
Thank you, Bernie. Have a good one.
So that was Alan Shipway, folks, from Tryhards Racing. He's the manager of that team. But the safety car lights are out at the moment, and my telemetry is all over the place, so I'm trying to pick up our race leader at this point. As we can see the field snaking its way down Conrod Straight now. For the guys watching at home, 34 laps have been completed of this race so far. We've had 2 safety cars at this point, and quite a number of teams have had to spend a lot of time in the pits already, which is a bit ominous for this early in the race. The safety car's in, so Team TTL will lead the way, and then they've got quite a big gap back to the 118, which has to serve a drive-through, and they're buried in the field, those guys, so they've got a lot of work to do to breach this gap. As we're underway, a nice clean start out front here. We can see the 2nd and 3rd in class. That's Redback Racing, followed by Carnet TDR, buried in the Class B field at the moment. Our Class B leader, that is GT Omega Racing, leading the way at the moment. 10th outright, Josh Burton still in the car there, and they're just up behind the HPDs. They're followed by the Boost Juice entry, that's Synergy Sim Racing, the number 200 second in class, followed by the ING entry for OSRDP. That's a nicely presented car. Mike Koroloff is driving that car at the moment. Looking down at our Class C, looks like Frida is back up in the lead. Now Frida was in big trouble earlier on today, and that's a great recovery by that car to, well, sorry, they're not leading. The 397's leading, but they're in the pits again and taking service. Then even Oceanic Sim Racing are in the pits taking service, so that's an interesting turn of events. So they were 2nd and 3rd, so it would be Frida leading that class at the moment. Bit confusing, Adrian.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's an accident at the S's, so I'm not sure where that is. I was having to see what is going on with Shane there at the moment, but yeah, no, it's quite interesting. Get a service now after a safety car flag, and now everything's dropped on me.
And we can see 2nd and 3rd. As we can see now, the 118, it's dived into the pits. It was battling the Carnet TD, and no doubt that is to serve its drive-through penalty. And this is going to cost them a little bit of time, but it's better to get that out of the way now instead of getting a bigger penalty for not... no, it looks like they're serving. I thought they had a drive-through, but they're actually coming back into the pits. safety cars out again? Am I missing something here?
Safety car is
No,
out again.
car 399 had a big crash just out of the cutting, or just near Skyline, I think it was, Bernie.
Okay, it was just I was getting a deja vu moment because last time we saw the 118 come in, we thought they'd drive through and the safety car was out, and that looked pretty much identical to what happened about 15 minutes ago.
Well, this will sort of help the Redback Racing car 2 here now, Bernie, with this safety car. They've served their penalty, and that won't have cost them as much time now, so really help those guys out.
Yeah, I think it's a stroke of luck there. I'm just trying to work out where this incident happened. My events just are not playing today, which means it's very difficult for me to get our replays up, folks. But Adrian, can you just fill in the viewers a bit on what has brought that safety car out again?
Yeah, so what I could get, once again, Bernie, with so many cars on track, we do lose a little bit of information. It was car number 399. As he was coming down off a Skyline, he must have got it loose or getting into that area there and had a massive accident, and it was stuck. So I would assume that he's destroyed his engine and have to call race control to get that car off track.
Yeah, I'd say he has definitely destroyed that engine. I was trying to get a replay of it, but once again our telemetry is playing up. But yeah, that car's absolutely destroyed. Let's hope they've got a fast repair, because I guess, Trent, if you're going to use a fast repair, this is the time to use it. Yeah, so Trent's not with us at the moment. I'm not sure where he's gone. But Adrian, I guess you can answer that question for him.
Oh, sorry, Bernie, what was that? I was listening to race control. There's a lot of chatter going on at the moment.
Yes, sorry, I was doing the same thing actually.
That's alright, I'll just talk to myself. But yeah, so at the moment the 188's leading the way. The 137 will drop into second position here. And then the 177, Michael Healy. We haven't seen much of them today. TTR up into third place. So they're having a good race as well. Let's go down further through the field in Class A for our viewers at home. And Team VPR sitting in fourth at the moment, followed by ABR Simulated. And they've got Michael Hammond in the car at the moment. We normally see him in the laser racing entry, so it's interesting to see him in that car at the moment. So they're in fifth. Sixth in Class A, ABR Simulator 2, and that's with Darryl Hockey in that car. And then seventh is Ian Ford for Evolution Racing Australia, the 126. Eighth position is the 118. They were second up until that drive-through, so they're in eighth, followed by Scott Connors for Dayco Motorsports, the 100. These guys were quite competitive earlier on today, but they've had a few dramas earlier on in the race, which has put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. Looking at Class B, that's being led by GT Omega Racing. Josh Burton still behind the wheel of that car, followed by the Boost Juice Synergy Sim Racing with Michael Schreier behind the wheel of that car. Then the 226 is Evolution Racing Australia with Nigel Marneef in that vehicle and doing a great job. Then we have the 288 OSRDP, the ING Direct sponsored vehicle, is fourth in class. Fifth in class is Evolution Racing Australia with Luca Giacomin driving that. Sixth is Jason Dixon for SDC Motorsport. Then seventh in Class B is the 227 Carnet TDR. Zach Hanlon is behind the wheel of that car at the moment. Eighth in Class B, the 230 Synergy Sim Racing. Reece Goldfish Finch behind the wheel of that car. The 217 is ninth, All-Star Motorsports, so keep an eye on that. That'll have Dylan Shepherd in the car later on today. Jay Boving, Krusty Demon Racing, the 205 is 10th in Class B. going down to Class C, we have ANZ Motorsports leading the way with Shane Van Gisbergen still driving. Looks like he's double stinting that car, followed by the 351 Oceanic Sim Racing with Matthew Nethercote. Then we have Frida, the Mad Cow entry with James Stevenson in third, and they're 2 laps down at this stage because of that incident, followed by the 314, the Selby Motorsports entry or Selby Acoustics entry in 4th position. 5th is the 367 Blackadder Motorsport. We haven't seen much of the Blackadder teams today. They're having a bit of a day of it, I think, but they're running 4th in class. Then we have the 398 ANZ Motorsports with Jared Filsell 5th, and 6th is Man Cave Motorsports, Josh Beecroft in the 308. And then we have the 366 Blackadder Motorsport. John King's just jumped into the behind the wheel of that car in 9th in Class C. So that's a wrap up of your top 10, folks, of all the classes so far. And we've been running now for about an hour and a half.
A lot of guys have come into the pits again, and even the class leader in C class, Bernie, have come in again. So people are utilising their safety car and topping up and put more fuel in, and looks like Shane's actually throwing on tyres. So definitely a busy place at the moment for the pit lane.
Yeah, it's interesting because they were just in, and the OSR car right behind them was just in as well, and they're pretty much mirroring the strategy of the ANZ Motorsports 397. Looks like as soon as they come in, they're following them, so they're making sure that they're not giving the 397 any sort of advantage at this stage of the race.
No, it's not a bad strategy. You know, look, who are we kidding? We know Shane's a talented driver, and he's really talented at this as well. Doesn't matter what he sits behind a steering wheel, he's pretty good at it. So to follow him around is not a bad idea. And you know, you're chasing this guy. There's no point in racing him. You can chase him all day long until the hour mark, and that's when you need to battle him along, is for that hour. You know, that last hour. That's where it all comes down to. Is a sprint race down to that last hour. So obviously you've got to make everything checked in up to that point. So not a bad strategy at the moment. You're not going to beat him now, and there's no point, because every time you get a safety car you're going to be caught back up again. So that's what they're doing, and I commend them at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, if you're going to follow someone, safety car into the wall yet again. If you're going to follow someone, you might as well shadow someone that's got a heck of a lot of experience around the mountain, not only in sim racing but in real life. As the safety car lights are out, folks, so we're going to go green this time by. Josh Rogers for Team TTL is leading the way, and we can see further back Timothy Schweck. He's about 8 cars back at the moment, with quite a bit of work to do to get past these DPs, because we know the HPD has a hard time passing these DPs.
Yeah, I think I'll let Trent answer that one, because obviously he's driving the HPD, but we did hear that from Colin earlier. No, Trent's not here. Sorry.
It's alright, I moved him out of the commentary box. He'll come back. I wonder what the hell's going on. Okay, so we're coming under green again, folks, and we will be racing very, very shortly, and the cask entry will take the green light this time by. They've done 38 laps at the moment, so they're going to be pushing it to do the 240 in 12 hours unless things settle down a bit. But we can see now the safety car's in, we are going green, and Team TTL will lead the way.
Yeah, and I mean, the guys are doing a great job. We've only had 3 safety cars, which is not too bad, but obviously with the issues recently, they've had to extend a couple of safety car periods, which is really good of race control to do that and make sure things get sorted out here, as the guys are definitely on it. As we can see that we've got the Class B's cars trying to battle for position here now, Bernie. So it's going to be quite interesting in this first opening lap after the safety car.
Certainly will, and we're actually going to ride this lap with Timothy Schweck in the HPD just to see how much work he's got to try to get past these DPs, and as he's coming up now through the cutting. So turn up your sound, folks. We'll be quiet for a bit and just enjoy the sounds of this HPD. Folks, that was a lap around Bathurst with Timothy Schweck here in the car at TDR, and I'll tell you what, Adrian, they get through a lap pretty quick, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. These HPDs are phenomenal. I do actually own one, but I've never caught into it. I'm still with Tim at the moment. He made a pass there getting onto Skyline, and it shows you how much downforce and these things have got to pull that manoeuvre off, and obviously he was given room there, and that was quite courteous of the DP driver there, but obviously he's got a car behind him right now at the moment, which is full position as well, which would be Michael Healy there behind him. So the guys are pushing it. They're trying to keep their positions, but they're doing a great job at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are, as we can see now. Timothy making that move on the DP just ahead of them, and the TTR car will want to get past as well. The good thing about these two classes, though, is if you get held up behind a DP, as you can see Michael Healy, it's not as bad as being held up by a GT3, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, you're right. The Corvettes are quite quick in the straight line, so you're not going to lose anything sitting behind them down a straightaway. It's just when you get caught up going across the mountain, because they're going to be a little bit slower, and that's where they're a little bit slower than the HPDs. It's just they don't have the cornering capabilities of the HPD, as you can see. Michael's really struggling there behind that DP at the moment, whereas Tim got around him quite quickly, as it looks like he's going to make that move now.
Yeah, he's got the thing wound up Mountain Straight here, and he makes that move. Probably a good place to make it before they start climbing the mountain one more time. The gap at the moment, just to give the viewers an idea, he lost it around about 1.9 seconds. Probably 1.3 seconds he lost while he was held up there, so that's not too bad at all.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, realistically, we've still got over 10 hours of racing to go, so at the moment to lose that much time, better off losing it now at this early stage, because you can gain it back just depending on how quick you are, and as we can see, he's closing up really fast coming down the mountain, so a little bit more confident coming down the mountain here, Perny, with Michael, so doing a good job compared to Tim.
Yeah, and Tim's got that DP just ahead of him. But yeah, it doesn't take much to close up, and I guess in a HPD or any car, if you can make up time down the mountain, then you definitely got the car hooked up, as we see Timothy go past another DP. And Michael's going to look, he's diving on the inside, that's a GT Omega car, and he made that move, good move there.
Yeah, I think he realised that, you know, waiting for these guys is not the option, and if you can make a clean pass, which is one of the best places to pass, you know, at the chase, and then obviously there's a couple other positions, you know, that they can make a move, but that's the general spot that everyone gets overtaken, is just there at the chase.
Yeah, and for the viewers at home, sorry for the pictures jerking away. It looks like our video gremlin has come back, which is frustrating as anything for me, but not as frustrating it is for the viewers, I'm sure. So I'm sorry about that, folks. We'll definitely try to get that fixed before this afternoon. At the moment, Josh Rogers, he's pretty much got the track all to himself, and being the race leader, he doesn't get buried in the field. That gap is 23 seconds at the moment, and that's probably because Timothy and Michael Healy have been trying to get through the traffic, which it looks like they have now. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of lap times they do. To give you an idea, folks, the last lap for Josh Rogers in the 188, he did a 151.459. Last time for the Carnet TDR entry, that was a 156.428. So that's a 4-second gap, just because of the traffic, I'd say.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie, and that's the thing with multi-class racing. You know, you're going to have, when the safety car comes out, they generally pick up the leader, which is the first HPD car, and then, you know, if it's Corvettes and GT3 cars in between them, first and second, well, then you've got to fight your way through it. So that's the way it is, and that's how you be on track under green. You know, you've still got to get around those cars, but at the moment, Josh has got a nice clear track, and he's going to put the lap times down and extend his lead as much as he can.
Yeah, and there's well, of course he will up until a safety car, then it'll drop back, but there's a good battle going on here, Adrian, between the 200 Synergy Sim Racing and the 226 Evolution Racing Australia. They're actually racing for the lead of Class B at this stage.
Yeah, I think it's second spot at the moment, Bernie. Just to correct you there, I think Joshua Burton is actually in the lead in this class at the moment, in the car 204 for the GT Omega car.
Yeah, second spot. Sorry about that.
That's alright, Bernie. That's one of those things with the telemetry. You probably had the white on Josh there at the moment, but yeah, they've got a HPD sitting there that's interrupted that battle at the moment. But no, it's good to see this racing throughout the field, and to have this situation at the moment. The racing has been really, really good. These guys have been putting on a tremendous show, and it's just been a few little bit of driver errors, which has caused the safety car. So no, it's been great watching these guys race around here, and it's been very clean.
Yeah, it certainly has, and we can see that HPD is just sitting behind the Boost Juice entry there, and no doubt he's going to fly by when they come down onto Conrod Straight. The Evolution Racing Australia also has the simulated HPD behind him, as well as another one there. So this is the thing, isn't it? Once the traffic builds, it's not only the HPDs that have to focus on getting through the traffic, but these Class Bs, and we say it every round, they have to allow these overtakes to be done without costing them time. As we can see now, Nigel is under Caltech's chase. He's going to be pushed wide here by the simulated car, but he didn't lose a lot of time. And now the XY Gaming entries also coming down here in the Murray's Corner.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot lately, especially at the start of the season, how everyone has been driving in this series, and it's a credit to the drivers out here, is that everyone seems to be holding their racing line even when they're getting overtaking. So Guys aren't jerking around on the track, they're just staying on their racing line. It makes it so much easier for these fast guys to pick their line and make these overtaking moves, and it's been a credit to all the drivers and how much time they've been putting into this series, and that's what's making this series so great, is that the level of driving has stepped up, and I wouldn't say a notch, Bernie, I reckon at least 10 notches the driving standards have stepped up.
Oh yeah, for sure. And a lot of these teams, they're investing a heck of a lot of time in driver training in their setups, and last time the Daytona 24-hour, I heard of at least 2 teams that the day after they've raced that, they're straight back into the servers and they're doing setups and practicing, and that's within 24 hours of finishing a 24-hour endurance race, and they've been at it ever since. So they invest a lot of time. Some of them invest money into their setups, and they accordingly are treating this series extremely seriously, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, for sure, Bernie, and to see it happening here, and us to witness this sort of level of trying to find the word here, competition, and the level that they're doing it at, it's, I mean, I'm sure if we have a look at what they do in their own time, and you go and have a look at a race team, the amount of work that goes in a race team, and these guys are doing it in their free time, so they don't have they've got jobs, and they go out and do their jobs and then come back and put a lot of effort into doing this. So it's just phenomenal what they're doing in this series.
Oh, it certainly is, and and it's reflected here on the track, as you said, the way the guys are, how professional they are. They've got their own driver etiquette and the way they place their cars and holding their lines, which is the way to do it, and they're definitely doing it like any real world race car drivers would do it, and that's what's expected at this level of racing here on iRacing.
I'm quite impressed, once again, I can't reiterate. I mean, we've just had a safety car. There's not been anything too untoward at the moment. The guys have got in and they've got back into their rhythm quite quickly. Guys are trying to get through the different classes. Courtesy is being given, and it's not like where guys are giving them room in a bad situation. They're actually getting it all sorted before a corner or down a straight. So just once again, it's such a tough track. I can't express how tough this track really is, and to keep letting cars by at certain areas, it's just a great job by these guys.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're just looking at our class C leader, and looking at my telemetry, it's the ANZ Motorsports entry. They've got a gap now, 8.1 seconds back to Oceanic Sim Racing at this stage. These guys are starting to stretch their legs, but as we've seen before, safety cars helped them before, and if one comes out, it'll probably go against them, as my screen's all going funny yet again. Do I sound frustrated? I feel frustrated.
Yeah, it's one of these things. I think a lot of traffic at the moment, and I think this is throwing up, and this is something interesting for everyone at the moment, to have so many cars. I don't think you see too many cars, or the amount of cars that are actually on a server or on one track at one time. It's such a big field and a lot of cars on here, so a lot of traffic going through at the moment. So and still doing okay, but yeah, it can be a bit frustrating. I understand that with the telemetry at the moment, you're sort of dropping a few people, so you're not sure where they are. But yeah, it's a bit hard, and obviously something that we can look at and obviously help out in some way or form to iRacing and let them know the difficulty we're having. But obviously they've got to work through their issues as well.
I'd say it's not anything to do with iRacing. I'd say it's just my graphics card slowly grinding to a halt here. I've made some more adjustments, folks, so we'll see if that improve things? It appears it has, but let's not hold our breath. But we can see here second in Class A, Timothy Schweck at the moment, Carnet TDR, just coming past the Swift entry. It looks like that Swift Racing entry's seen better days, but no doubt they're just trying to preserve their fast repairs at this stage of the race.
Yeah, I think they are, but once again, you know, these cars, if they keep getting damaged and they are going to be like this, I think, like Colin had said earlier, they'll get to a point where they'll probably not be safe on track, and something that I'm sure, and we know that Scott's going to keep an eye on, and to get them out. Tim's in a bit of a traffic jam here with the GT3, so he's going to have to wait now, and this will slow him up for sure across the mountain. I think he may take a car here near Skyline, but a bit of patience here and he'll get him down down Conrod.
Yeah, this is going to allow Michael to close up a bit, because he's got past one GT3. He's got a GT3 between him and Timothy. Timothy's having a look on the inside, and I tell you what, you don't really want to make a pass there on a GT3 through there, because they need every bit of the track to get those things to get through Skyline. They don't have the downforce of these HPDs, and the GT3 drivers definitely have their hands full here at Bathurst this weekend.
Yeah, I think Tim didn't make a move there because there was three of them in a row and they were all fighting away there, and if he made a move he may have copped one there from one of the cars. As you can see, Michael's obviously made that move there just before Skyline to get around that GT3, which has now closed him up behind Tim, because Tim had to wait. Oh, that was close there. The GT3 didn't realise the HPD had come through and he was going to shut the door, but he was aware just at the last minute to get out of the road.
Yeah, that was great driving by Josh Beecroft there, 308, and you know, that's the danger, isn't it? If you're shadowing another HPD and he goes through, it does not necessarily mean that that GT3 driver has spotted the second one, because they're tucked in so tight. But a good effort there by Man Cave Motorsports to avoid what could have been a very serious incident.
Yeah, certainly will. And seeing Trent's back now, we can also ask him about how important it is to actually have someone there with the team, as to let the guys know there's a car. Just going the wrong way there, as we saw the GT3 was going to try and give him the other opportunity, thinking the HPD hit the racing line. So quite interesting racing there at the moment.
Having an extra person, having your own teammates around, it's vital, especially in races like this. I know I like to use the iRacing spotter myself, as well as using my team members to alert me of any issues around cars approaching, cars that we're approaching, that sort of thing, just to keep an idea of where I might actually, like if I'm going to catch a GT3 car, where I might catch them, and vice versa. If we're running a bit slower and we've got the leaders coming behind, whereabouts on track we might think that might happen, to try and make sure that we let them by in a safe spot. If we know that probably close to the straight, we'll probably just wait till the straight to let them by, but yeah, having a team spotter there is quite critical in these sorts of races.
Yeah, Benny, we've got a really slow GT3 Man Cave car number 308 coming down into the cutting here, very slow, so guys are going to have to be careful coming down the mountain at the moment, and it's crabbing badly.
Yeah, we just picked that up, and commentator's curse, we're just talking that car up, weren't we? And it looks like it's found the wall big time. We'll go back and see if we can find out exactly what has occurred to that car. So just jumping back to the replay now, folks, and of course my telemetry fails when we need it the most.
Big crash down Conrod.
Yeah, so we can't get that replay going, but yeah, that's the 334 and the 308 We were just looking at the 308. It looks like the 334's collected him big time. We'll see if we can pick that one up. But I don't know what it is. When we get into these big races, telemetry plays up a bit, but we can see on the replay the 308's crabbing, trying to hold his line. Oh, that's big. That's huge. That's one of the HPDs. Redback Racing's also involved in that. And yeah, that's a big accident there. Just trying to work out which car that was. That was the 119. Gary Guggio behind the wheel of that car, the second of the Redback Racing team, and that car is absolutely trashed as well. But looking at that replay, the 334 looked like he was trying to take a wide line of the 308, and he's actually collected the 119 as it's passing them. So it was pretty awkward out there.
I think that goes back to what we were just talking about, having a team spotter available. The Rick Burton at 334 may not have really known that the HPD, the 119 was there, and he's just moved around the stricken 308 car straight into the pass of the 119, so that's caused that big accident, which is really unfortunate for all the teams. There was a couple of teams involved with that one.
Yeah, it certainly was, and some of the viewers might be wondering how come the GT3 drivers don't really spot them, and I guess it's two things. One, the HPDs are extremely low, and the second one is the closing speed is absolutely phenomenal, and it doesn't take much. Like if I'm driving a GT3, every now and again I'll get into a groove and forget to look at my F3 or my black box, and if I don't have a live spotter, which Trent was talking about, it doesn't have enough time for the iRacing spotter to generally warn me, and it doesn't take much to just miss a microsecond and all of a sudden you've got a HPD breathing down your neck, which is probably what happened to the 334.
Yeah, guys, I can sort of update on the 308. It actually happened coming out of the cutting again, so the car got loose coming out of the cutting, and instead of hitting nose on, it actually hit the rear end into the fence there, and that's why it was crabbing. So obviously it come up through the cutting all the way along, so it did well to get to where that point was, but yeah, unfortunately that's where it happened for those guys.
Yeah, I thought as soon as he got down the mountain onto Conrod, I thought he was fairly safe, but obviously I was wrong, because it doesn't take much, does it? And if you're going to have a big accident, one place to have it is just near the chase where that occurred, because these guys are topping. Not sure what the top speed of a HPD is, but maybe Trent can tell us what the top speed down there would be.
Oh yeah, these cars should be topping 290. Some of the faster guys might be hitting 293 to 295, and in a tow that'll get up to 297-ish, 298. So I'm not sure what the GT3 cars are actually doing, but yeah, speed difference is quite big.
Yeah, it definitely would be, and next time they go down Conrod, we might get a radar gun down there and just get some speed differentials. I might leave that up to you, Adrian, to see if you can get some and just report back to us what they are topping down Conrod Straight.
Yeah, I might even pick the class leader to do that, because obviously he's going quite quick, and it'll be quite interesting to see how fast he's going down Conrod at the moment.
Yeah, that's for sure, and the 333's right behind him at the moment. Just having a look at where they are in class. Let's see if I can get this right. It looks like they are third in class. Am I right or am I wrong? No, I think I'm right. I think the 333's third in class now.
Just trying to check once again, telemetry. It's quite interesting at the moment.
So for the folks watching at home, let's give you the top three as the safety light's out. We've got one more lap, so we might as well go top three of each class. Josh Rogers' team TTL is leading Class A followed by Carnet TDR with Timothy Schweck. Both of these cars are double stinting, and we heard earlier they do that to save up to 5 seconds in driver changes. Michael Healy is sitting right behind Timothy, so we'll keep an eye on this at the restart because it's going to be rather interesting. In third in Class A, looking down to Class B. Class B is being led at the moment by Synergy Sim Racing number 3, the 230, with Reece Goldfinch behind the wheel of that car, followed by Jason Dixon in second for Class B in the 222 SDC Motorsport Enduro team. And then third is All Star Motorsports with Scott Kozlowski in that class. Looking at Class C, we have ANZ Motorsports. Scott Fountain has jumped in behind the wheel of that car, so there's a driver change there. The 351 Oceanic Sim Racing. Marty Atkins has jumped in behind the wheel of that car, and it's leading, followed by the 397 ANZ Motorsports, and then the 333 of Mad Cow Racing, with James Stevenson still behind the wheel of that car, and they're yet to make their second stop. Another thing, Adrian, I'm not sure about you, mate, but I've run out of coffee. This is when I need an assistant or something to go and make me one.
Yeah, that's about it, Bernie. That's when the safety car is good for myself. I can nick off and get myself one because I don't have any assistants at the moment. They're all nicked off to the shops, and I'm sitting here commentating, which I love to do, and I've got no one annoying me, so I've got a bit of a quiet time at the moment.
Oh, that's good. It's good to see the families also out enjoying themselves, and they're not sort of missing out on their Sunday. And it's good you're doing what you like to do as well.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Got a good family. We sort of understand what everyone has to do, and I get the opportunity to call this, which is great. It's a beautiful sport that we have here, and it's just getting strengths to strengths. And I can tell you right now, seeing the way that these guys are racing, why wouldn't you want to watch something like this? I know it's not real, but it certainly feels real when you're in the car or watching it back on YouTube. The guys do a fantastic job, and I'll tell you what, it's probably about the only esports that you can take back into real world applications, so you could actually get out there, and if you can get into a race car, you could probably use what you've learned on here into that with the proper tuition as well.
Yeah, for sure, and we know a few real world racing drivers do actually use these tracks for practice and getting to know tracks and all that sort of thing, but we're just having a look at Josh Rogers at the moment, coming down through Forest Elbow there. He got mighty close to behind that pace car.
Yeah, it certainly was, and you can actually sort of drive into the pace car, as the pace car should be diving into the pit lane now, and Josh will have control of the cars, so he's the one that determines when they go, as he's turning into Murray's now.
Yeah, so he'll put the foot down, leaving it late. He's now going right on the start-finish line. We'll keep an eye on this battle with Timothy Schweck and Michael Healy, though. These guys are racing for position, and we'll jump on board with Michael and just see exactly how it looks like on a restart here at Bathurst in a HPD. Just see there the 333 made a great drive there just to get out of the way of Michael, and that takes a lot to get a GT3 coming through the outside of that part of the track.
Yeah, and just to do a bit of speed comparison, Josh out the front, he did two 260 up Mountain Straight on his own. So as he's coming down the mountain now, so he's got a bit of clear track, so that'll be quite interesting with these guys.
Yeah, well, that's how he gets that huge gap, isn't it? He doesn't have the traffic to contend with, where the guys behind him, it seems, always have lower class cars to pass on a restart.
Josh is coming down Conrad now, topping 280, 290, Bernie, 291, 292, 292 down into the chase, and he was still on it after the little right hand kink, so, and braked really late, so 292 down in through the chase. That's magnificent and really fast.
Yeah, certainly is, especially when you're coming into the chase there. So I guess, you know, if you're going to do it in any car, you might as well do it in a HPD, because you know that car's going to have the grip to be able to handle those speeds.
Oh yeah, that was just unbelievable, just on it all the way through the right hand kink, and just crazy speeds. 292, that's unbelievable, man.
Certainly is. And you know, I reckon the next couple of laps, if you do one for the leader of Class B and the leader of Class C, when they get a decent run, we'll just see what the speed differential is. I think it won't be that much between the DP and the HPD, but it'll be a lot down to the GT3.
So I'm jumped aboard now again with Reese Goldfinch, the leader of their class. We'll see how well they go. Might have a little bit of assistance if they've got a HPD, so I'll make them a little bit quicker, but it's going to be interesting as he's going across the top of the mountain now.
Yeah, we've also jumped on board with Reese, and you can just see the difference in how much the driver can see, I guess, with the closed roof car. Got a HPD just in the S's there, stopped, so we'll keep an eye on that.
We had a couple of spinners there. We had one at the Cunningham one, the one that we saw, Bernie, as and now Reese is going down. Yeah, sorry about that. Just got a bit of chatter there as we're riding with Reese down here in the pit view with no dirty screen, so we'll check this. 280, 281, yeah, 281. So 10 kilometres an hour difference going down into the chase there, Benny. So that's quite a big speed difference.
Yeah, it's about what I would have expected, I guess. But you know, if you think 10 kilometres an hour is going to be different, imagine what the GT3s. They're probably doing. Probably about 265 down there.
I just missed it, but I might cheat here, Bernie, and I'll rewind a little bit just to see how quick these things are actually going down there.
I reckon we should just wait until Frieda comes down on Conrad and measure her live. It's more fun that way.
It certainly is.
You can see now Frieda's just coming up. She's got the Class B leader in front of her, and the Class B second coming through now. There's a bit of traffic there, but this team, they always seem to rise to the top, don't they? And I could say some pun about the cream always rises to the top, but considering this car's a cow, I don't know if that'd be an old man joke or not.
Well, it could be, Bernie, you know, one of these things that as you get older you come up with these lame jokes, so I still have a laugh just to be polite. So as old Frieda is coming down the dipper here and looking at coming into Forest Elbow, and we'll see how quick this old girl goes.
Yeah, I bet you she'll be moving. You got to laugh, you got to be polite, remember?
Oh, ring a ding ding. We're not doing too bad here, Bernie, at the moment. 260, 265, 269. We've got 270 for the BMW, so not too bad.
Yeah, so it looks like the cars, each class, are roughly about 10 kilometres an hour speed different down Conrod.
Yeah, and to think the times that they're doing, you know, just goes to show that it's not just about the speed they do down Conrad. It's actually how the cars handle across the mountain, and that's the big key, isn't it, Bernie and Trent? Just the way that the cars get their speed across the mountains. That's where you need all your grip and the fast pace, without losing time down the straights as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's about a 12-second difference in lap time between the 188. They did a 152.234. The 333 we're watching at the moment did a 205.263. Oh, and we've got a car heavily in the wall, and Frieda's involved in that. And we've got 2 cars in the wall back there at the cutting again. Just go back to the replay and see how this unfolded, but it was I'm trying to get the car ahead of it that was involved in that. I think it might have been the 232. So we're just coming to super slow-mo now, coming through the cutting. You can see the 232 getting sideways, actually getting a helping hand by the BMW, which has spun him into the wall, and then that's messy. The 271 Next Level Racing also into the wall, and that looks like it started because the 232 got a bit of a slide on, and the GT3 just gave it a bit of a nudge as they came out of the cutting there. It looks like they've all got going again, so that won't bring out a safety car, but I'll tell you what, if you're in the 271 you'd be a bit annoyed because you were pretty much minding your own business when you got involved in that incident.
Yeah, it's once again part of this multi-class racing, and you know, it's going to happen. I think Trent will let us know how that feels as a car that's sort of an innocent bystander, and unfortunately, you know, get damage from not your own fault, which really hurts as a team.
Yeah, and the other thing it did show though was just how much better the GT3s are under with brakes compared to the DPs. I know Trent alluded to it earlier, and that was just a demonstration coming up through the cutting.
Yeah, we might have a little bit of trouble there at the moment, Trent. Not quite picking you up when you're trying to talk there at the moment. It doesn't seem like that you're coming through, mate.
He might have dozed off again. But anyway, we've also got a Swift Racing car heavily damaged, trying to make its way into the pits at the moment as well. I'm just trying to work out which car that is. But they have got it back.
Oh, big crash. Car 266, I think, was involved in that one, Bernie.
Oh yeah, huge crash. We've got a car on its roof that's coming down the mountain there just after the dipper, I think. Let's get a replay of what's occurred here. This will definitely bring out the safety car because we've got a car on the roof that's going to need assistance here. And of course my instant replay doesn't work. I don't know what it is with it, but we just can't seem to go back in time to get these replays at the moment. It's getting very frustrating.
Yeah, the big car 204 as well there, Bernie. It's the trouble with the load on this at the moment. We sort of seem to be missing.
Yeah, so that was Bobby Jovanovic, GT Omega Racing, that car was very, very strong, wasn't it? In its class, but it's now sitting there without a whole front end on that car. And safety car's out, which is what I would have expected to happen in that incident. So I'm just trying to go back to see if we can actually pick up this accident from Bobby's point of view.
We've just had race control out in the law for some of the driving that's been going on during this race. So yeah, hopefully everything picks up a bit from now on.
Yeah, so that would be, as far as safety cars go, what's that, the fourth one for this race, and we've been now racing almost for 3 hours, coming up to the 3 hour mark shortly.
Yeah, not even 3 hours really, is it, Benny? Like only 2.25 hours, so not much racing, and four safety cars, I believe. Just have to check on the incident level here, so it gets, you can understand a little bit, but yeah, so 4 safety cars we've had, so it gets pretty hard and getting a rhythm. So, but once again, it is Bathurst, and a few things that are going on. It's a bit hard to control this sort of situation.
Yeah, it was a bit like the real Bathurst 12 hour. I think it was 2 years ago. They had a record number of safety cars, didn't they, around here? So it's just the, I think, the way the rhythm of the race unfolds, and it looks like we may be in for a few safety cars here today. But while we're under yellow, folks, I'm going to go and make myself a coffee, and I'm going to leave it up to Adrian and Trent to keep you entertained for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie, and welcome back, Trent. Good to hear you back on the air. Notice you're having a little bit of trouble then.
Yeah, I kept talking, and then everyone kept talking over me, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not saying anything interesting, but obviously if you just couldn't hear me. But I was talking earlier about the, I think you asked the question about when you're caught up in an incident that isn't your own fault, your team's fault. Yeah, they're a bit of pill to swallow. When you make your own mistakes, you're just like, yep, I'll put my hand up. That was my fault. Nothing you can do about it. But when you're caught up with another incident, that's when it really hurts a lot. When you're doing what you can to be safe, to do the right thing, to keep it clean, and then there's an accident ahead of you that you can't avoid. Yeah, that's what hurts. I know the G&T racing team, car triple won last year in this race. We were actually on pace to probably win or come second, and we got caught up in an incident at the elbow with a GT3 car which had spun, and then we ran into it, and then yeah, it was just one of those incidences. But we did manage to come back for a podium position there last year, which was good result. But we had the pace throughout that race to possibly take a victory after some of the faster cars, I guess, became victims to other accidents as well. And earlier in this race as well, we saw it at the cutting. GT3 car spun in front of Andrew driving the car at the time, and unfortunately that's damaged the car. Made the choice to not use a fast repair, which may or may not be the right thing to do, but we are down a little bit on top speed at the moment due to that 8-minute repair. But yeah, we want to get to the end of this race, so we'll make sure we keep that fast repair till the end.
Yeah, I suppose that's the hardest thing about being a team and trying to manage these fast repairs. Of course, you've only got 2. How much do you want to use them, and when to use them is definitely difficult. But I suppose like the decision at the moment is to try and hang on to it late in the race, because you never know what's going to happen, do you, for 12 hours, and we've now got 4 safety cars and only in 2 and a bit hours of racing, so quite a number of safety cars at the moment, and obviously race control's not happy with this at the moment, but you know, still got 9 hours and 40 odd minutes to go. It could settle down hopefully soon, and we'll have some nice clean racing for a while.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I think race control is not only it's not the number of safety cars only, but there's also some questionable passes and things being made, and there have been incidences that haven't brought out the safety car. So I think all that sort of combined together has led to some frustration from a race control point of view, which I can certainly understand. And all the drivers want clean racing, and yeah, it is hard to get into that rhythm when it's broken up over and over again with safety car incidences or having to back off from cars spinning and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a hard too as a race team too, and try and get a good schedule in for your pit stops, knowing when to pit and when not to. But for the HPDs, if the leader's not pitting, you may as well stay out there and try and utilise that at the moment. Obviously, because if you pit while you're on the lead lap and the leader doesn't, you definitely get penalised for that, just for pitting, don't you?
Yeah, that's actually one thing that the G&T racing team is probably not so great at. I think VRR last year, we pitted a couple of times when we didn't really have to, when the leader come in, and we should have stayed out to get a lap back, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way, and we ended up losing some laps to the leader. And Daytona was the same thing. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the pace there to actually get back on lead laps, but we were a lap down fairly early on, and that sort of sealed our fate for the rest of the race. We had decent pace, but yeah, once you're a lap down, it's really hard to get that back. But that's the nature of these sorts of endurance races. If you got the pace, you'll get it back. At Daytona, I think the TTR car, who ended up finishing right behind the leader in second place at Daytona, they were about 4 or 5 laps down at one stage, but they had car pace, and whether the safety cars played a role in it, I don't know, but they were fast, pitted when they needed to correctly, used the safety cars to their advantage, and ended up finishing on the lead lap after being 4 or 5 laps down.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Safety cars can be your best friend or can be your worst enemy. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what happened at Daytona actually with G&T car. We actually had to use a fast repair early on, accident that wasn't of our doing, so we had to make a pit stop, and then a safety car came out right at the end of our second stint when we were due to pit. Work out perfect for us, and it put us in 5th place on the lead lap. So we were sitting in a pretty strong position, actually, which completely contravenes what I just said about that race, because I didn't remember I said we were a lap down early, but we actually weren't. It was, I think I had a dropout in the internet, which caused us to go a lap down after that first stint, and yeah, that put us a lap down, which we never really got back. But it swings and roundabouts. Sometimes safety cars are a benefit, sometimes they're an absolute hindrance, but that's just the nature of motor racing.
Yeah, it certainly is. As the safety car lights are out and we're getting ready to go back racing for this safety car period, and it's going to be quite interesting as we've got it looks like second place right behind him as well, and I wonder if simulate it. Yes, it is. So we've got the top 3 HPDs line astern here, so it's going to be quite interesting for the first few laps for these guys.
Yeah, the TTL car won't be able to make a breakaway this time because there's no GT3 traffic or other DP traffic in between them. So it's just a straight out battle. As we see the ABR team simulate Mark Mohammed behind the wheel, got a brilliant start and managed to jump Timothy Schweck in the 137 Carnet TDR car.
Now I did see that there was a rough that just came out of the pits, so they're going to have a lap car up here very shortly, as it looks like the 308 man car, a cave car. So they're going to come across him at the top, over the top of the mountain, which will be quite interesting for these guys.
Hopefully they'll stick to that gentleman's agreement and they'll leave the passing until a safe position down Conrod Straight. Otherwise it could be quite messy if one forces a pass, could cause an issue, and then we've got the other cars behind who want to get by as well. Yeah,
so Rogers is through on that GT3 car as we got back here with I'm back here with the man cave car at the moment. It looked like he was a little bit loose getting in there, and the guys are going to have to make this pass near at Forest Elbow if they can have a quick look in. No, the rough takes that line, and they'll have a nice clean run down straight mountains down Conrod here.
It looks like he's just done the right thing, just held his line, stayed predictable. As soon as he could, he sort of stayed to the left to make sure that these guys could get the passes done down the straight.
Yeah, that car's looking a little bit second-hand at the moment. Obviously, that was the car that was in the wall and had that big incident earlier on, which brought out a safety car. But it looks like they've probably used all their quick repairs on that rough, and have to deal with the rest of the races. Looks like your car's going through there now, through and under away. So it looks like all the HPDs were pretty well much up near the front of the field here today.
Yeah, just unfortunately we're 6 laps down, but we have ever since we made that pit stop at the start of the race, with half an hour gone, for 8 minutes of repairs, we actually haven't lost another lap. So we'll take that as a positive. We've made 2 positions overall outright on track 2 now. We were 43rd, we're now 41st. Chasing down the 131 Tryhard's HPD, which is a lap ahead, but I think it's right behind us somewhere in the queue. So technically, yeah, they're a full lap ahead of us, but hopefully we can make up a few more positions by the end of the race.
Yeah, such a difficult task to try and get those laps back, especially in in HPDs with the talent that's up there, that's for sure. And I hate to be in one of the other guys because you never get your lap back in the other classes. As see here, Sean Evans at the moment, he was having a look here, so it's definitely tied up here with the HPDs. The guys are definitely on it at the moment.
Yeah, they're going to race. There's no traffic in the way, so it's just a flat-out pace where. But we can see the TTL cars just absolutely driven away from this field.
Yeah, we've seen Josh in a lot of other things, and he does a great job and can drive a car quite well, can't he? So once again, Josh is out there pushing and keeps that lead. Every time a safety car comes out, he loses the lead, but every time that safety car goes away, he's jumping out there and pushing that gap. So. And it's not a bad thing. If you get a bit of gap, you could get some cars in between you and gives you a little of that buffer if the safety car does come out. But just a man to beat. And I don't believe he's come out of the car yet either, Trent. So looks like he's doing a triple at the moment.
Yeah, he did start the car. So he's into at least a triple stint at this point in time. I'm not sure how many pit stops with all these yellow flags. I'm not sure how many pit stops we would have made. But yeah, it looks like he's on for time for a triple stint, green flag stint, and the HPD is going to be around the 50-minute mark. If it's pure green flag racing, obviously yellow flags will extend that out a little bit, not only through extra laps, but through the extra time it takes under the safety car. They're about doubles the lap time compared to green flag racing.
Yeah, I might be a little bit wrong with the triple, but you'd be going close. But they've only pitted once going by my telemetry, and I know I haven't closed my telemetry down at the moment. So to me, it looks like they've only done 1 pit stop. So the top 3 have only done 1 pit stop. But how's this? Scott Connors in 4th at the moment has done 4 stops and in 4th. So depending if you go on the pits or not, it really isn't making a difference on the racing at the moment. And I think we just go back to that whole thing is that 1 hour. If you're at the front with that 1 hour to go, you're in with a shot to win, aren't you?
That's exactly right. It's all about buying that ticket to that last hour. If you don't have a car at the end of the race, then you obviously can't win. So it's all about getting to the end, and then I'm sure we'll see. These cars, they're not really battling, so to speak, at the moment. They actually are spreading out a lot. I don't know whether that's some are pushing, some are sort of just taking it easy. But I'm sure towards the end of this race we'll see a lot more aggression, possibly defensive lines and all that sort of thing amongst this top group.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And I've just quickly gone back to Sean Evans again in the ERA at the moment. one of the closest battles we got here at the moment. Obviously, actually, I think I see another one there with Scott as well. He's battling away there for third at the moment, which we might go to that because that's for third place at the moment. There's Scott's having a look, and like I said, he's already had 4 pit stops, so these guys are doing a bit tough, but up into 4th place, and they've got Michael Healy. Sorry, that's looks like I've got a car that's a bit behind here. Looks like might be the TTR or a TTL car there, a little bit down and a few laps down at the moment, but Scott's pushing here, and he's quite a quick driver, isn't he, Trent?
He is, yeah. He drove for GNT Racing last season, and he was consistent and fast, which is what you want in a driver. It's all good being quick, but if you put it into the wall every second lap, then obviously that's not going to help you. But Scott, come race conditions, he is quick and very consistent, which definitely helps, and he's certainly not afraid to have a bit of a go if there's an opportunity to make a pass. He's usually pretty fair, pretty clean. Unless we're in fun races, then he likes to push people out of the way, but generally speaking, like when he's in serious races, yeah, he's a really very hard competitor to get to keep behind you.
And he's just made that pass there in the chase, so what a move too. He, like you said, very aggressive. Put that car on the inside there, as I can see now. Michael trying to get it back. He gets a little bit loose there through Murray's, and Michael's going to have a look down here. Can he outbrake him coming into Hell Corner?
I know Scott's very, very deep on the brakes, especially into the chase just then, but Michael's managed to get that pass back done again, but Scott will get into the slipstream. He seemed to be lacking a bit of straight line pace up Mountain Straight last time by, so I'm not sure if he'll get this done or not, but he's certainly going to have a try.
Yeah, is he having a look now and turned in, had the line there, and Michael didn't fight that one too much. He knows it's a little bit hairy going on the outside through that corner, and it can get quite loose. And same with the cutting, it's up through here. It can get a little bit squirrely, can't it, which can throw a few people off, and that's where we're seeing a lot of accidents today.
Yeah, it's not a good section of track at all. It's not much fun. But yeah, I think Scott's got his car seems to be working really well through the corners, and but the 112, the simulated car, seems to be a little bit quicker in a straight line.
Yeah, we just saw there Scott had to hold up there to get with this GT3 car at the moment, car number 334, or just had to get held up, and you can see the guys close in on him, and now he's got to do it down Conrod. So the boys have listened to race control and trying to do the right thing, but it does bring in this element that they have to race, so it makes it tough because obviously Michael's got the inside line here through the chase, but Scott will hold it flat and he'll have the inside line here for the left-hander, so good racing here with these two. They're doing a great job.
Oh, and they've just made a little bit of contact.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact there. Not hearing, there's a bit of chatter going on. I just didn't miss that at the moment, but there's a fierce battle here at the moment. And they're doing a good job generally. Just a little touch here going through the chase, which is going to happen if you're not too careful. Car can get a little bit of aero loose there.
Yeah, the inside car, it is hard to actually hold that inside line, but you do need to rely on the car on the outside to give you that extra little bit of room. And racing incident there, one of the drivers certainly wasn't happy, but yeah, racing incident, I'm sure Scott will get the move done. I think he got a little bit balked by that GT3 car out of the elbow. He'll probably get a run again. He's quick across the top, so he'll try and be as close as possible coming out of the elbow, and he'll try and get that move done back into the chase as he did, we saw a couple of laps ago.
This is good. My telemetry is not working too well at the moment.
The line keeps crashing.
Just a bit of an update, guys. our race leader, the 188, has come into the pits, and Joe Burkett has jumped into that car. So Michael Hammond has taken the lead, and he's resuming this battle with Scott Connors for first and second in class.
Thanks for that, Bernie. Yeah, just having a little bit of trouble here, but I believe we've actually got the driver of the 188 down in the green room at the moment. So he's done his stint and he's decided to come in and have a chat to us. So we might bring him up and have a quick chat to him about his race so far and how well that car is handling.
I think Josh may be out of the GT Omega car, I think, but we'll bring him up anyway.
Oh yeah, I think you're right there, Bernie. My mistake for yours. Yes, he would be in the 204. Josh, welcome to the RRTV booth. Bit of a hard race for you guys. I believe you had a little bit of incident there coming out of the dipper earlier.
Yeah, Bobby's power cord disconnected itself from the back of his wheels, so yeah, definitely unlucky. We've got good pace. Like I was leading the first on a double stint, I was leading all the laps apart from about 10 in class, so yeah, definitely got pace. Just gotta now, because we're a lap down on the actual C7 leader, just gotta kind of hope that a safety car works in our favour and we'll be able to get a lap back.
Yeah, so that incident with your teammate there was because his steering wheel failed, so that's a bit of an unfortunate event for you guys.
Yeah, it is. Not a lot you can do, or not a lot I can do in that case, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. It's still a long race to go. Anything can happen at Bathurst, as you know, so we just have to see where we end up.
With that incident, did it chew up all your quick repairs, or have you still got that one still left in the bank at the moment?
Still got one left, so that's good. Hopefully we won't need it, but we've still got it there just in case. You go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, with the pace that you were showing earlier on, obviously you guys were up near the top and definitely had the pace to keep up with the leaders. So if you can do that, that might be able to bring you up on the lead lap if the safety car falls in your favour.
Yeah, that's it. Like I was only pushing kind of 75-80% on my first stint in practice on Thursday, which was the same weather as this. I was pumping out 57s on race setup, and I was doing like mid 58s, low 59s, and capping second place car when I was out in front though. Yeah, definitely. There's a few different setup downforce packages, so to speak. I know the OSR car and the Synergy cars aren't running dive planes, so they're ejecting in a straight line, yet around the corners over the top they're not too good, and it seems like they've got a fair bit of aero wash over the top when they're following you, so kind of, yeah, so we're not running dive planes, so we're able to gap the cars over the top and kind of have enough buffer to be in front going down the mountain, and yeah, was pulling a few tenths here and there on the OSR car at the start of the race, and then the Synergy car got through, and yeah, it's about the same speed.
So you guys are definitely looking at more of a settled car across the top to get the pit pace there. Obviously going down Conrod you need a little pace, and we've seen there that I think it was 280s some of the cars were topping out in your class at the moment.
Yeah, we're topping out at about 282, and the guys with the dive planes can do about 288, 290, so I think for what you're going down the straight, I think you actually gain a bit more over the top, so that's just what we think, and it's obviously a safer setup, so it's just what we're doing at the moment. Just, you gotta buy a ticket to the end, so they say, and that's just what we're doing with our setup.
Yeah, well, it looks fairly settled at the moment. I've got it on track, and Bobby's, we know that he's quite a good driver and seen him race a few times. But yeah, the car definitely looks settled, and he's out on his own, which is good at the moment. Have no traffic around him, which makes it a little bit easier to get into a good rhythm and helps you set up throughout his stint.
Yeah, that's it. Just trying to. He's not going as hard as he could be at the moment. So just trying to. I just guess just keep the car off the walls. That's all we're trying to do at the moment. So he's probably a good second half slower than what he could actually do. So yeah, it's just the plan at the moment. And if the safety car works in our favour, we know we might be able to push a bit harder and get back up to the lead. We just have to see how it all plays out. Yeah,
great, mate. And I'm gonna hand you over to Trent now. And look, you're doing a great job. Unfortunate for your team there with Bobby's steering wheel. At least he's out there again and got it going. So keep pushing forward. And it's still got just under 9.5 hours to go, mate. So got plenty of time to try and push this car back on the same lap as your class. So hopefully all the best to you and your team.
Yeah, cheers. See how we go.
Yeah, thanks for that, Adrian. I wasn't really paying attention to any of the questions you asked, so I apologise if I ask any questions that have already been asked. Weather-wise, Josh, have you found any sort of weather that you might think like does or doesn't suit the car? I mean, obviously hot weather is never good, but have you been able to adapt your setup to sort of suit whatever conditions were going to be on for the race?
Yeah, our setup's probably at its best in weather like this, kind of something between 40 and 45 degrees. That's what it is at the moment. So yeah, our setup was built on, well, it's kind of been work in progress for ages, but just the little fine things on free practice one on Thursday night, and it was actually track temperature was actually exactly the same. So yeah, we was pretty happy when we joined the server and seen that weather.
Obviously last season you guys ran in the HPD. Was there a reason you guys chose to go to C7 DP for this season in AAC?
Yeah, there's quite a few reasons actually. Probably the main one was just something different. I know it's a challenge, and yeah, we were kind of up the front in the HPDs last season, so just kind of challenging ourselves to see if we can get up there in the C7s, and it looks like we're doing it so far.
We know the straight line difference between the HPD and the C7 is fairly similar. There's not a lot really between them, but overall, as a car to drive, what would you think would be the main differences between the HPD and the C7?
Definitely the cornering speed for sure. In a straight line they're very similar, so it's just the cornering speed. HPD has a lot of acceleration out of the corner, and all that downforce, so that's probably the main thing. 5 seconds a lap or so, I think, from memory, so takes a bit of getting used to, but and all the traffic coming through, and hopefully 90% of them are patient. There's a few out there that like to get it done pretty quick, but there's also been some really patient driving, so definitely them things are the main differences.
Do you class one car as more fun to drive over the other, given the different characteristics of each car?
They both got, well, they're both fun to drive, but I think, I'm not sure to be honest, they've both got good points, both got bad points. HPD is good you can really rag a lap out of it. The harder you push, 9 times out of 10 the faster you'll go, where the DP you kind of got to back yourself back a little bit like the V8 supercars, so yeah, it's just, I don't actually have a favourite over the two, so yeah, it's just trying to adapt. I still like driving the HPD, so it's still a long way to go in this championship, but never know, might switch back for next year.
No worries. Well, thanks for your feedback and comparison between the two cars, and I'll pass you back to Bernie.
Yeah,
Sorry, Adrian, back to you, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, Bernie. Yeah, thanks, Josh, for coming up. I'm not sure if Bernie did have any questions, but if he does, he might ask you. But what I'm going to do, and I think that's what he was going to ask you, is you want to put a shout out there to your sponsors and your teammate, mate, before we let you go.
Yeah, for sure. All the guys at Fusion Sim Racing, Scotty Stevens for obviously not only doing race control, but he helped us out massively with the setup. Just fine tuning it, so that was good. Bobby Jovanovic for racing, and Craig Edwards, who you'll see jump in the car probably next. And yeah, GT Omega, Daco, Powerbond, Sim Instruments, and Ulex.
Yeah, great, mate. Well, thanks again, and look, keep going. You're doing a great job out there, and hopefully we can see that DP get up and get it back on the same lap and have a fight for a podium, which would be really good for you guys. But it's going to be a bit of a hard task at the moment, but with the pace that you got, you should be getting at least close to it, and hopefully the safety cars work out for you.
Yeah, it's the plan, so we'll see how we go. Cheers for the broadcast.
Alright, viewers, that was Josh Burton in the car 204 DP, so a bit of hard luck there. We saw that it was a steering wheel issue for Bobby, and obviously he's got a back going again, and unfortunate for those guys. So it's good to get them up, isn't it, Trent, just to find out what goes on and see what the issue is with these cars, because sometimes it's not a driver error, it's actually a hardware failure, so which is hard. It makes it worse, doesn't it, because you feel bad for one for having a crash, but then also you take out a few other cars, which really sinks in, and you've got this heavy heart, don't you?
Yeah, it's like Motorsport last year. Again, another track that our car was probably really on track to actually win or get close to winning in that race, and I had a hardware failure. I was lucky enough to it only really affected our car. Had it caused other cars to be affected, I think I would have felt really bad. But you feel bad just within your own team when something's beyond your control. Even though you're in the car, you couldn't control it, you still feel bad because it's your responsibility to make sure that your equipment's sort of working and all that sort of stuff. So there's been a few races where we see mechanical failures from all sorts of different teams, whether it be internet dropouts, wheel failures, pedal failures, that sort of stuff. That's all part of racing. Is there are mechanical failures in real life, and when we have those sorts of things happen in iRacing, that's effectively the same sort of thing of having a mechanical failure is having those sort of services and items break down on you. And yes, again, it does actually add a sense of realism, I guess, even though we don't like it at the time, but these things sort of happen in real life as well, so it's all still a bit of pill to swallow.
It certainly is, and we might do a quick rundown of your top three cars in each class at the moment. As I'm watching here, Scott Connors has the lead in A class with Michael Healy only 0.4 of a second behind, and Scott got a little bit caught up there behind a GT3, which helped Michael close in. So they're doing a fantastic job there at the moment. Michael Healy in Trans-Tasman Racing car at the moment, so they're doing a fantastic job there. And they've been battling away and got that car into second place. In third in Class A is Sean Evans for ERA. Once again, another car, a team that's been pushing plugging away at it, and done a fantastic job so far in third. They're about 15 seconds behind the lead cars at the moment, but once again, you know, that 15 seconds can whittle away down to nothing if we have a safety car. So top effort from those three guys at the moment.
Just to touch on that, Adrian, as well, I'm pretty sure the 126 also had a pit lane start penalty, so those guys started from pit lane. So we can see that they've done a really good job to bring themselves up into third place after their pit lane start, which is another strong thing as well.
Yeah, you're right there, Trent. Yeah, they did start out of lane, which was unfortunate through qualifying, had a bit of unavoidable contact, and had a safety car early on, which sort of helped them out a little bit, because I know Ian was in the car earlier and and pushed away and got up through the field quite well, and with the safety car helped them a little bit further, but haven't had any issues, and the car looks pretty straight at the moment. But leading Class B at the moment would be Nigel for ERA. So once again, ERA up near the front there and doing a fantastic job there. Michael Schreier in the car 200 is in second place, and not that far behind either. He's only 1 second behind, but just got around a GT3 car there and has the TD Racing HPD in front of him, so he'll get a tow down Harper Mountain straight here, which should close him in onto that first place car. And in third for class is Jay Boving in the car 205. So for I think it's Krusty Demons Racing with that Pepsi Max racing scheme, fitted that onto that Corvette quite well, I think, guys.
A bit of a pit update while you're interviewing Josh Burton. The 112 simulated entry that was running second came in to take their pit stop. They're out in 8th at the moment with Daniel Lee behind the wheel of that car.
Thanks for that, Bernie. Thanks for the update. Good to have Bernie updating at the moment. Bernie's decided to do some camera work as Trent and I commentate for you for a little bit. There won't be too much time left, I don't think, with the broadcasting schedule. Bernie might be able to correct me on that, but we'll go through Class C quickly before we get Bernie's update. And it looks like the car 397 is in control of that again. Looking a little bit worse for wear, if I'm not mistaken, guys, but that could be just my screen. But and that's got Christian was it Allwood in the car at the moment, so I don't know if Trent, you've got getting the same pitch as I am on that car. It looks a little bit raggedy there on the right hand side.
What was the car number, sorry?
Car 397.
Just loading up now. Yeah, the right hand side looks a little bit banged in, so not sure if they've had an incident of some sort. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing what you're seeing, and yeah, the right hand side does have some damage.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem to be affecting the car too much, but in second place is that OSR car again, guys. So doing a great job there, those guys. They're mirroring the 397, so that's keeping them in second place. They're not that far behind. I think only 4 seconds behind at the moment. So still doing a great job there in that car, and I think car number 398 is in third in class at the moment with Jared Fistel. So he's doing a great job. The car's also looking a bit beat up. I'm not sure if these guys have used their quick repair or they're waiting, like you said, Trent, to try and leave that last one near the end.
Yeah, they could be doing the same sort of thing. Just cop the repair time now. His car is 4 laps down. They're only a lap behind the class leaders, though. Probably actually less than that. It's just where the leader happens to have crossed the line. But yeah, they're still in the hunt. The top 3, top 2 are really close for Class C. So yeah, as the race goes on, it'll be interesting to see how that all continues to play out.
The 331 Tryhards Racing 1 with Brett Woods just in the pits. Looks like a blown motor of that car. Another fast repair has been thrown on it, so that car must be getting low on fast repairs. And John Kuhneman has just jumped into that car.
Another thing too is I've noticed there's a few more HPDs have fallen right down the order. The 118 Redback racing car, it seems to be 4 laps down now. I'm not sure what's happened to that vehicle. And we've got the 166 VPR, which is currently 13 laps down. So perhaps they've chosen to repair rather than use a fast repair, or they've run out of fast repairs from an incident. As we look like might be the 397 and might be in the wall at the exit of the chase.
Oh yeah, and it's damaged badly.
And that was the Class C race leader, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, we might get Bernie to go back and check that replay, because that's a big accident there. It's smoking pretty badly, so I'm just filling in a little bit of air time here so Bernie can get back to that replay.
It was actually he's come unstuck up near Forest Elbow. I think he's actually had steering damage, and he was helped into the wall by a HPD passing him as he exited Caltech's chase, and that's what's done the damage and blown that motor of that car. So this could be potentially quite a big change for Class C at this stage.
Yeah, just going back a little bit further, there was 2 HPDs. Looks like a single HPD had spun at the exit of the dipper, and he's come through, collected that. Another HPD's collected the original HPD, and it's been an absolute mess. Track was blocked for a little bit, and I think that's what's damaged the car. And then, as you said, you got a helping hand into the wall on the exit of the chase.
So we might keep an eye on those penalties, because I'm sure there'll be something coming up through that at some stage. But we might confirm with Bernie how much longer we're actually going to stay broadcasting for, because he's the boss, and he'll obviously let us know how much more time we've got for the first part.
Oh, if we're going into overtime, I better get paid overtime rates.
Yeah, no, we won't be going into overtime, guys. I was going to make a smart comment and say we've got 9 hours and 7 minutes of the broadcast left, but we don't, unfortunately. For all the viewers that have joined us on iRacing Live this morning, we thank you very much for watching our broadcast. Unfortunately, no other parts will be broadcast on iRacing Live today due to other commitments iRacing Live has. But if you wish to watch the action, you can. We will be back in about 3 hours for a 1 hour update. And if you want to see that, you go to youtube.com/RRTV Live. And then, of course, we'll be back at 6 o'clock tonight. That's GMT plus 11 time. And we will be covering the race to the end at 9:30 tonight. But we're just about out of time here, folks, for our first part. So just looking at our penalties at the moment, ANZ Motorsport, the 398, has a post-race investigation on them for contact with the 368. The 205, Krusty Demon Racing, they also have a post-race penalty for passing multiple cars at the restart under yellow. So that's a couple of post-race penalties coming along. The 397 also, they are having, looks like network connection issues at the moment, and we've seen that play a big part previously in racing, so they may need to correct that. But anyway, guys, before we go off air, are there any final thoughts of this race so far?
I'll let you go first, Adrian.
Thanks, Trent. Yeah, it's been interesting. Once again, we knew that this track was going to... I was seeing a HB going to overtake a GT3 car as we're going through that, which is a little bit risque. And we've also got car number 331 there, Bernie. We might check to see what that one's doing, because it needs a tow apparently. So it's all happening before we go. But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? This track was going to throw up to us. Hard racing and a lot of things going as we got a safety car. So
yeah, the Triards Racing one, we saw that blow an engine that has been stranded going up the mountain. They've got a tow now, but that's why we had the safety car come out.
Just looking back at a further incident, that actually stemmed back from, there was a slow DP heading up towards the cutting, number 217. Looks like that had damage. 331 had slowed down to avoid it, and a HPD number 169 ran into the back of him. So it was a bit of a nasty accident from a slow DP car.
I'm just trying.
Sorry, Bernie. I'll just quickly finish up my summary. Yeah, it's been interesting, and obviously we'll have a lot to talk about when we recap when we're away. So we'll get back to that replay that you want to show.
That's all right. It's doing the usual thing and not giving me the replay, as it always does. But I think Trent pretty much summarised it. The 331 did get stranded, and that has brought out the safety car. But as Trent said, it was involved with a slower DP and a HPD that got involved in that accident. Over to you, Trent.
As we've seen, the attrition rate, which was what we expected at Bathurst, has kicked in for a few teams. Some have used fast repairs, some may have opted not to use fast repairs, and it's put them several laps down. So we've seen a couple of cars that were doing well at the start of the race and now several laps down. But it seems to be the same sort of teams are there or thereabouts at the top. Obviously, Trans-Tasman Racing in the lead at the moment, and they were doing quite well. The 100 Daco Motorsport, FSR Daco Motorsport car was leading on the race for a while, and Adrian mentioned that car actually pitted 4 times compared to the leader who'd only pitted once, and they were right behind it. Obviously, they pitted, and that allowed them, the FSR Daco car, to take the lead. So it's going to be a sort of up and down over the next 9 hours of this race. So it's still pretty much anyone's game. It's Bathurst. There's walls everywhere. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and it definitely is happening. We saw at the moment the race leader change. The 177 Tasman Racing is leading now because the 100 has pitted, and Scott Connors is out of that car. Reece Garden is in that car, so it's in good hands there. Having a look at the cars in trouble at the moment, folks, just going down, the 232 Tryouts Racing DP2 appears to have retired from this race. The 363 is still going. That's the Swift Racing, but it's had a long time in pits. It's 18 laps down at the moment. David Hingston in the Man Cave Motorsports 308, they are 15 laps down. Jorgen Walby for Tryouts Racing 3, they are also 15 laps down. So they're the cars at the moment. We've got another one, John Kuhneman, Tryouts Racing 1, 331. We saw that with the blow-on motor. That's 11 laps down. George Fullerton in Pagny and IRFF Racing, 271 is 10 laps down. So they're probably the cars at risk at the moment of retiring. However, anything can happen at Bathurst, and once they churn through those 2 fast repairs, folks, expect a lot more to retire by the end of this race. But anyway, folks, it's at the end of our Part 1 broadcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. We're very sorry that we had technical issues earlier. I appear to have those sorted out. But if you're interested in getting the mid-race update, come back here in 3 hours at 3 p.m, and that will be a 1 hour mid-race update, and we'll bring you up to date with everything that's happened. So on behalf of Trent Thomas and Adrian Jarvis, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thank you very much for tuning in to RRTV, and we hope you have a good afternoon.